Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to SpawnCast episode 145. Well, Sean, how did that... We just started the podcast.
Dude, Hellraiser, dude. Hell yeah.
I love Hellraiser.
Man, that was fast.
It's a good series. Pinhead is classic. I've been waiting on it for a while.
I met Doug Bradley and I freaked out. I met him at a horror convention. He was in a corner with a card table. Nobody cared. And I walked up and I was like, "You're Pinhead." And he was like, "Yep." And I was like, "Can you sign my Blu-ray of Hellraiser?" And he's like, "I guess." And he wrote it, "See you in hell." And I was like, that's so funny.
Welcome to Spawn Wave, the only podcast that one sentence into it and we already get distracted.
Well, hey, last week we had what big show behind you, Sean, and what happened?
It was the New Year's baby. He had the nipple out.
All right, there you go.
And then Big Show came back, so maybe Doug Bradley's going to reprise Pinhead because now there's a new Pinhead.
You never know. You never know.
Who you calling Pinhead?
Who's on my screen? Austin's the big square here, but you said Evan. You said someone else.
Should be Nate
square.
now.
It's Nate. Okay.
It's just Nate's standby picture.
It's very symmetrical. I like it.
Oh, okay, good. So let's go through here. We have Austin joining us tonight. Austin, how you doing, man?
What's going on, everyone? Austin,
Good to have you
John,
here.
Thank you.
Yeah, you heard there was Pokemon stuff to talk about. So
I mean, when Pokemon stuff goes down, Austin has to weigh his 2 cents, especially if OJ's not here.
Oh, yep. OJ's still on vacation. He'll be back hopefully soon, though. I think
Probably
he'll be back
not.
soon, so
That's what Januaries are for. They're for vacation and half value CPM.
Remember whenever he used to talk shit about me, he'd be like, "Oh, you're taking a day off? Oh, you're taking a day off? I know. This dude's been gone for like a month, and like, I'm gonna rag his ass when he comes back."
Then we have let's see, from my right here we have MVG. What's going on, man?
Good evening. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on the show.
Have you here? And we got you just heard Sean. Sean, how's it going, man?
Good.
Have you here? And then we have Miss Click.
Hello.
Busy eating chili. Cat food. Very good.
What's
Very good.
Not cat food.
Not cat food.
Cat food. Then we got Evan. What's going on, man? What's going, Evan?
Just, managing this.
Okay. And then Max. Max, what's going on, man? Dreamcast guy.
Chilling, man. It's been a calm week. It snowed in Texas for about 5 minutes this morning.
That's weird. It was like 70 degrees in the Northeast today.
70 today. It was beautiful.
It was basically 70 while it snowed. It snowed, and then you just saw it just beep. It was very exciting.
Yeah, and Jordan, what's going on, man?
Hi, good to be here. I'm back.
Good to be here, man. Good to have you here. And then Nate. Nate, what's going on?
I'm watching the Ravens get their ass handed to them by Ryan Tannehill.
God.
Well,
Sports.
Hey, it's all good, man. The 49ers won today. It's all good. So what's everyone been up to this week? What's everyone been playing?
I just came back from MagCon. I'm super sick.
MagCon is something completely different.
Uh-oh.
Back from MagFest.
Wait, is it demonetized bad? Like, is it demonetized different? I went to MagFest as well. I stopped by for about 6 hours, I think.
What?
Yeah, the day that you were there, I was.
Austin apparently was like out of commission. He's out of commission.
What'd you come Friday?
Saturday.
You're there Saturday? Yep. I didn't even know.
I came back to do the podcast after that.
He went there, bought shirts, and then bounced.
No, we
That's fair.
We had some people there. There were some people I saw while I was there, hung out, and it was fun. It was a good time. And then I came home. So, but I did get some shirts. Yes, I got a few other things too. I got a one of those Game Boy Advance backlight kits.
Nice.
One of the new ones. One of the ones that released like 2 months ago, I think. So it's pretty new.
Yeah, I saw them on the floor. There wasn't too much crazy stuff. A lot of like independent artwork. A lot of really creative artists there. But I got sick there, and since then I've been playing Stardew Valley.
Oh yeah, man, Stardew Valley is good, dude. That's
How
good.
much did that backlight set you back for the GBA?
Oh, it was $50 for the kit.
That's not bad.
No, it came with the screen. Everything.
Nice.
Yeah. So it came with the glass front part, the part that replaced that plastic piece.
Yeah.
So it just came in like this thing, and I went ahead and picked up a Game Boy Advance online, just a junked up one. So we'll turn it into a nice, pretty one, and got a new casing for it and all of that, and it'll be cool. And I also got online. It's for a video coming up. A full one of the rechargeable kits that came out recently for the Advance as well.
Whoa.
Yeah, this is gonna be the ultimate Game Boy Advance. I think it's gonna be sick. I already finished making the ultimate GameCube. I got that video coming up.
Did you get the plastic holder that gives you two little handles for it?
For what, the Game Boy Advance?
Yeah.
Not yet. No, I need to look into that though. I like the form factor of the Game Boy Advance, like the original one, you know, because it's like a rectangle. Whereas the SP, man, you're like palms together, you know.
Yeah,
I like
this
the
$10 piece of plastic essentially is the same thing that your SN30 Pro does.
Oh, okay. I see that, Max. Yeah, because you showed me that one, and I wanted to get. I want to get one of those.
The backlight is really bright too, and it doesn't really drain the battery dead. I think this is the version before the one you got. I think
it'll be a fun install. I think overall, and it'll be cool. But I did install that kit for the GameCube as well, MVG, and it came out pretty well.
Yeah, I haven't done mine yet, so I'd be looking forward to your review on that one. Yep. But I've heard good things about it. I heard it's really good.
Yep, I put the videos already put together. I'll have that out tomorrow.
Nice.
But install was easy though. It wasn't bad. I was pretty happy with it.
Yep.
There, we put out an update.
Very simple.
I put the update on the SD card, popped it in, and updated it.
The only thing, have you tried multi-disc games yet? Because I've heard someone said it does work, and then I heard today that it doesn't work. So then they're working on a fix for it.
That was part of the fix for version 1.0 that released 2 days ago. I haven't tried it because you have to get to the end of the disc to then have it, but it says it automatically changes the disc. So maybe I'll do some Twin Snakes or something to get through that part. Just to see if it works out, but I like it. It's good. I did some load time. Resident Evil 4 loads up faster, and so it's pretty cool to see it. But I played some games, and I took a cue from UMVG and did not play any of the Nintendo games, even though they're all games I own. I only played games I owned. I was like, yeah, I'll just do some third party stuff.
Yeah, I saw you finally got Eternal Darkness for the GameCube.
Yes, I picked that up because Scott was talking about it last time.
Nice.
After hours, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna grab that. I had actually a bunch of GameCube games come in yesterday and the day before for a video, so I had some good ones. There's some good ones in there.
But do you have a CRT to play it on?
Yeah, right.
No, I don't have a CRT. I need to get a CRT again, but I don't want like I don't want to just get a CRT just to get one. I want it to be like a good, like one of the Sony Trinitron ones or whatever.
Yeah, PVM or Trinitron. Yeah,
I want like a good one. I don't want a junk one. Like you can find them on Craigslist, but I'm using that Eon adapter though for now for the GameCube, and it looks pretty good. I think Game Boy interface, massive improvement though over the Game Boy player. So
nice.
Yeah, it works well though. But what about all right, Sean? Hit us with it. What have you been playing?
Really, I've been playing a little more Forza Horizon 4. I downloaded Jurassic World Evolution because it was on Games with Gold for free. So I've been playing that a little bit. I actually bought DLC for it because it has the Jurassic Park DLC, which is supposed to be like voice acted by the people who were in the original film, but I haven't tried it out yet. I really don't care too much for the game. Like I'm very early into it, and like my little man-eating dinosaur is eating all the other dinosaurs that I've created, so it sucks, and no one's coming to the park.
I thought that game, like, it's a cool concept. I went to like an experience back in E3 2018 to like check it out. It was really cool. Game's okay. As a Jurassic Park fan, I much rather want a different way of playing Jurassic Park than like a park management simulator, you know?
It's pretty much theme park with dinosaurs that will kill you, which I liked theme park a lot, but I don't know. It's just, And then I actually picked up Bloodstained again because I wanted to see how that performance patch did for the Switch, and it really didn't do shit.
It's still terrible.
I played it for like 2 more hours, and
that's a shame.
I got to the point of advancement that I needed to get to, and then I was like, maybe I'll try again in a couple months.
That's on Game Pass, I think, right?
Yep,
I think so. Yeah.
See, the problem is though, I'm already like 10 hours into it, and it's like I really want to,
I see what you're saying.
All the stuff.
That's my problem. I turned it on recently, and I have everything, and I couldn't remember the map. I was just walking around fighting stuff, and I was like, okay, it's still a good game. I'm good.
I mean, it had been a while since I played it, like period. So I was like, how do I do this? How do I do this? But once I got used to it, it's not the worst thing in the world, but I mean, there's still a lot of frame rate drops, and there's a new weird thing where like I thought it was maybe Joy-Con drift, but like it wasn't. Like sometimes I'll be in the menu and I can't go up and down, and like I'll have to completely exit the menu and go back in, and sometimes Miriam will just start like shifting from side to side really quick and then stop, and I'm like, all right, this is great.
Are the controls, do they still feel delayed?
Not as bad. I don't think. I mean, it's been so long since I played it originally. You know, I'm just now revisiting it, but it's not as bad. And the lunch meat of the week is honey ham.
Honey ham. Okay, nice. Okay, I can get behind that. It's a good stance.
Why don't we just get here on the weakest meats?
Okay. How honey ham a weak meat? It's ham with honey.
I'm gonna jump over here to Evan because I know he played a game that's actually pretty interesting.
Well, we both played a game.
We both played it. And what am I talking about here, Evan? What did you play this week?
Temtem.
Okay. I
heard about that.
I liked Temtem.
Yeah, I really liked Temtem.
I was surprised by Temtem, to be honest. It was a little shocking because it actually might be better than Pokemon.
Blasphemy.
I'm not even kidding. I couldn't believe it. I'm playing this and I'm like, is this like I sent you a message, Evan. I was like, is this game better than Pokemon? I can't really tell.
Yeah, I was talking to you because I streamed the first 17 hours of me playing Pokemon, and the whole time the people I was talking to, we were all talking about the mechanics in the game that should change to make it better, but you know that would never happen. And Temtem are like 90% of what we talked about. So it's just like this is awesome.
It's very, very close to basically just being Pokemon. Like it's shockingly close to where I'm like, are they allowed to do? I guess they're allowed to do this.
I've been following the game's progress since like, 2018.
Yeah, I remember seeing it like a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It feels like they were trying really hard to do what Pokemon's doing, but add more to it. So it's fully online. Like Evan and I were playing and we ran into each other when we were just going through like doing different things in the game. So it has that down. And it ran pretty well. They did a stress test where it was starting to struggle a bit. I saw that today because they're doing like these testing windows now.
What was your starter Temtem?
I picked there was a monkey. I picked the monkey.
You picked Grookey?
He knew karate. I think he eventually gets some kind of fire attack.
We
What are the
Fire monkey. You got Chimchar?
What are the starting types?
Starting,
I know Pokemon
the one I went with was a psychic.
Pokemon has a copyright on having a fire starter and a water starter.
Evan picked a psychic. I picked a fighting. I think it ended up being a fighting Pokemon, and the other one looked like it was a crystal or grass. It was green, but it had like crystals around it. That's the one problem I'm running into right now. It's like, okay, gameplay wise, it might be better than Pokemon, right? But I can't remember any of these things' names. Whereas with Pokemon, you know, it's Pokemon. You get used to it a little.
Can you
easier,
nickname them?
Yeah.
Great. So just nickname them Pokemon that you're familiar with their typings.
I might do that. Oh, that's
probably good. And here's the other thing: it's due out, I believe, in
January 21st.
I believe it's gonna release at $35.
Wait, when? Like 2021 or this year?
No, January 21st.
Yeah, it's going to release early access on Steam, but it's also going to be coming to all platforms as well, including the Switch, PS4, Xbox One.
Okay. Whoa.
And
it got a lot of backing. What was it? Did it use Kickstarter?
Yeah, it was mostly through Kickstarter. But like one of the big mechanic changes is everything's 2v2, which is what like I talked to a lot of people who were like, that just makes Pokemon interesting as 2v2. Why can't they just make that the standard? Temtem made it the standard. And not just that, but moves between the characters actually interact differently based on who their partners are. So
that was the most interesting part. They have
stuff.
Synergy attacks. So like I have a Temtem Pokemon. I have a Temtem that has a normal, it's almost like a normal tackle, but if the Pokemon you have out next to it is a poison type, it makes that tackle poison the enemy Temtem for like 4 turns or something.
Holy hell.
And then there's a full stamina system that was interesting as well.
You can't just spam your best attacks like in Pokemon until it goes away. If you use a big one, your stamina goes away. And then if you use it again, you take damage for using it. So
you have to rest. You have to pick times to rest.
Yeah, there's more tactical decisions to be made.
Yeah, so like your stamina, and if your stamina is depleted completely, like you're saying, Evan, but the move you pick requires 12 stamina and you have 8, you take 4 points of damage. Yep. And then you can have terms where you can rest instead of attack.
And if he swaps, he rests as well. So when you swap to other things, it'll be rested for the next phase.
Yeah, I couldn't believe this. I was playing this and I was like, I think this is a better game. Yeah. Here's the thing: the stress says I think I played 5 or 6 hours of it because just the amount of time I had and when you run out because they have windows set up. So I think I'm gonna buy. I mean, they sent me the code to try it out, but maybe they'll send it as we get closer and I can try it out beforehand. Otherwise, I'll buy it when it comes out. But here was the other thing: it's harder than Pokemon.
Yeah, it sounds it. It's taking away all the easy aspects.
That was the thing. I was playing through it. I'm 5 or 6 levels ahead of the different NPC players that are around scattered around that I'm fighting, but I'm still getting smacked by their temtems if you don't do it right. Like if your strategy isn't like on point, you'll still get smacked around by them. I was shocked by this game.
I was gonna say this reminds me a lot of. I really love Pure Solar. This is like a Genesis RPG that came out a couple years ago, and it's hard as hell. It's basically like Phantasy Star 5. Yeah. And it sort of sounds like that. Of like you have already beaten the other 4 Phantasy Stars, so you know the rules. So they make this one hard as hell. Temtem sounds like that. It's like you've already played a lot of Pokemon. We're just gonna throw you in the deep end. That sounds great.
Is Temtem the game? Someone mentioned in chat, is Temtem the game where they put Etika in the game?
Yes, I believe so.
Did they really?
That's right.
It's the
That's
hat,
right.
They put his hat in there.
Yeah, they just. I thought they put him. I thought like him as a character in there. Yeah, I remember that in the news. I think it was last year they were talking about that. Yeah, it's solid game. I was very surprised. If you're like playing Pokemon, you maybe want more kind of a slightly different take on it. Like it's not going to overtake Pokemon, obviously not. But like it's. I think it's just a cool thing to play if you like Pokemon and you want something else that's similar to it. That is kind of starting from the beginning. I think I don't know how many Temtem are in this game, but I looked through their little, I don't know, what are they, Temtem decks?
Roster.
I don't know what they call it. Roster, sure. It went to 144, but I think that might have been down to like what I had seen I had seen Temtem number 144 or whatever. But I'm gonna assume that it's like 150 or so in there.
The art style is just so different.
Yeah. When I was running on my PC with the 2070 Super, I was telling Evan I got a new monitor that's a 144 hertz refresh rate, and in battle I got the full 144 in it. So nice. Frames. Otherwise, you can lock it to 60 and run around it. It runs fine at 4K even. So it's not super difficult to run. I think it'll translate well from the Switch to the Xbox, to the PS4. So it'll be interesting if they get crossplay too. So
minimum requirements are a GT 650 mobile.
Yep, that is pretty much junk.
It doesn't need much.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to play it on the Surface laptop. Maybe I'll try that because that just has like integrated Intel graphics. But yes, Temtem is good. So check it out.
You also need to have a minimum Celeron 2.4 gigahertz processor.
What are we gonna do? I don't know. Yeah, I also played Mystery Dungeon, and that's the last time I probably played Mystery Dungeon right there. All right, moving on. Moving on.
Well, the thing is, it wasn't people were like ragging me in the car. You ain't like Mystery Dungeon? No, Mystery Dungeon was a very mediocre game when it originally.
They should have made it. They should have made a new one. They shouldn't have done it.
What is all this disrespect?
Kind of like
what is this? Is this just a hate circle of Mystery Dungeon?
I never played the original, but then I played the demo and I'm like, this is not a game for adults. This is like an early childhood game.
No, it's not. Shut your damn mouth.
My favorite part
you
is
hit L, it runs around by itself. It gets all the items for you. It brings
those games were staples when I was younger, and it'll be a staple as an adult. Listen, the last two Mystery Dungeon games were horrible on the 3DS, and they finally course corrected it and gave something that the Mystery Dungeon fans wanted. You shut up with your hate speech.
Is there a Mystery Dungeon community out there?
Right? That sounds like
there is.
It's like 20 dudes, and they're all real mad at you.
Like I've always said, I've always liked the spin-off Pokemon games more than mainline games.
We're gonna get
Mystery Dungeon games are better than the mainline.
We're gonna get back to that. We're gonna get back to that. We're gonna get back to the Pokemon.
We are
community in a little bit because I got some things to say about that.
All this disrespect.
But the thing about Mystery Dungeon
is great
is that here's what was funny about this. I was getting annoyed. I was like, I don't really feel like playing this, and the game was like, yo, just press L. We got it. I pressed L and it played itself. I was like, yes, we're good.
Yeah, but I was at that exact same moment. And then I was like,
the game knows.
Now I don't have to do anything.
The game's like, oh, wait, he's losing interest. Tell me can press L.
We got you, fam. This is the fast forward button.
Jordan, how old are you?
I'm not falling into this conversation.
What year were you born?
It's none of your goddamn business at this point.
Okay, because the original game came out in 2005, and I'm going to assume you're 26 years old.
You're close.
I think you're what, 24?
25.
25 years old. That means that you were born in the year 1995. So that means that you were 10 years old.
No, I was born in the year 19. I'm turning 26 this year.
Okay, so you were born
94.
Okay, so you were 11 years old when this game came out.
Yes.
I wouldn't have played it at 11, to be honest.
And I've played every game in the series And the last one came out, 2016 was the Super Mystery Dungeon or whatever on the 3DS, and that one wasn't so good. And they're finally giving a new version with a great art style of the two best one in the series.
The art style is Winnie the Pooh.
Great art style.
Art style is just Winnie the Pooh. That's it.
It looks good. What do you want it to be?
It looks like Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, okay. Oh, great. Shadowgate 2020. Okay, guys, it's all about the shadows again. We're
just a basic thing for a $60 game. I would like to see a shadow under Mr. P.
No, he looks great. Look at him. He's adorable. He has trees.
Listen, it's cutie.
He looks like a 7-year-old.
Thank you. It's cutie.
You're right. Yeah, RGT. I gotta agree. It does look like a kid's drawing.
Arms. Look at his weird little fingers.
It's cutie. It's cutie for the cuties.
Damn.
If Jordan wants to be a cutie, let Jordan be a cutie.
Yeah, let me be a damn cutie, okay? You guys are coming in here so hostile towards this game, and someone has to speak up about it because there's no defense from this side, all right? I'll be the heel if I have to, but Mystery Dungeon's great, and y'all gonna learn to respect it.
It's hard to push the visuals on them because
maybe I'm
Dungeon
being defensive because I drew the tree and submitted it, and they used it. I don't know.
Mystery Dungeon isn't just Pokemon. There's like one every year from all different things. They just have to pump these things out. So I mean, it's not gonna be the best.
We have Sean critiquing these lovely visuals of Mystery Dungeon and saying you expect better visuals from a $60 game, yet he praises, and I praise it too, Friday the 13th.
Oh. Friday the 13th. No.
Friday the 13th is broken. I got stuck in a rock and I won because he couldn't get me because I got stuck in a boulder.
Get him, Nate. Get him. A $30 game or $40 game from a small independent studio, not a studio. Not if you're making a Pokemon game, there needs to be some sort of standard. Like the Pokemon franchise.
When they tried to make the graphics better, when they made the graphics better and did different mechanics on the 3DS games, it ruined the game. It was horrible. This is going back to the roots that made the games great, and I love it. I love it.
Shitty trees, is that what made the game great? Look at this tree art
They'll sell you DLC. They'll DLC the better trees later.
Any Pokemon game that comes out, listen, we got to deal with crappy trees in every Pokemon game at this point. Okay, so who cares? It's nothing new.
I don't think the gameplay aged very well, Jordan. I think they should have made a new game.
Maybe you didn't age well. Maybe your childlike wonder went away.
Whoa.
Look, those animations where they tackle forward slightly, I think they worked all right on the Game Boy Advance.
Well, they still work now. Great.
No,
love it. 10 out of 10.
It's not a good game.
You know what? If it was like
it's for kids, it's for kids, though. Not every game is going to be made for adults.
If it was like a $20 eShop thing,
it's rated E for everyone.
It should be rated EC. It's an early childhood game. That's how it feels.
That's your development level with smartness. When it comes to Mystery Dungeon. Ooh,
I mean, it honestly, I had Charmander as like the partner that like was picked. I was Machop and he was Charmander. I thought he was gonna break out the flashcards or something for me for a second there because
he will literally say the same thing 3 times during one speech. Like instead of the character emoting, he'll literally say, "I'm happy. I feel like a Pokemon. This makes me happy."
Here's the one thing I will say, Jordan.
My tail should be wagging.
You guys have played the first hour of a game that is very long and has an actual interesting and intriguing story.
I will give them
the Explorers of Darkness and all that stuff later on down the line too.
I will give them one bit of credit, Jordan. They didn't try to make it into 2 games. I'll give them that.
Yeah, they put both in one, and I love that.
I will give them that.
Somebody said that Spike Chunsoft is the dev for Pokemon.
Yeah, they are. I just
line
looked it
forever.
up.
So now I rescind everything I have said because Spike Chunsoft also makes Fire Pro, and Spike Chunsoft did very poorly with Fire Pro World on the PS4. So everyone, make sure you go out and buy Pokemon Mystery Dungeon in March for the Nintendo Switch, so that Spike does not go out of business, so that they make more Fire Pro games. I've spoken.
So that they make more Mystery Dungeon.
No, Fire Pro.
No.
All Mystery Done. Fire Pro. What's a Fire Pro?
Let's go to MVG. What have you been playing this week, man?
I finished Judgment a couple of days ago. Really, really recommend the game. I had so much fun playing through that game. It was awesome. So I finished that. And now I'm on to Need for Speed Heat finally.
Yeah, there we go. Let's go. Need for Speed. That's what Sean has to get on that.
It's fun,
I went
man.
to GameStop and it was $60, and I was like,
really?
Yeah. I was like,
wow.
I'll come back.
Keep an eye on Wario 64. They'll drop it to like sometimes they'll have sales for like 35. I think I've seen it as cheap as $29.99. But yeah, it's fun, man. I'm enjoying it.
If it drops to 35 again, Sean, just go ahead and just pick that up because it's
for sure.
You'll like it if you're liking Forza Horizon 4. It has some Need for Speed Underground vibes to it, maybe even Carbon. Well, you're liking it though so far?
Yeah, man, it's really fun, and they haven't added any like microtransactions, right? Like, I mean,
shocked.
it's still, it's awesome that they've done that. So yeah, I enjoy the game. Hopefully, we'll see more from that franchise going forward.
Nice.
Some next gen Need for Speed games on the PS5 and the Xbox Series.
Hey, man,
would be cool.
It's gonna look good. What about Max? What have you been up to, man?
I've been kind of chilling this week and just playing some random stuff from 2019. And obviously I watched the Pokemon Direct, which we'll talk about later, but just kind of hanging out. I actually hooked up my Dreamcast again. I had my Dreamcast over in the corner, and I played some Power Stone. Just the original OG first Power Stone again. And man, it was really fun to go back to that. I'm glad that I have like all my original box art and stuff for the Dreamcast games. It's nice to just play like an old school game with everything sometimes.
Nice. Very nice. What about Jordan?
I got back into Borderlands 3 because I didn't have time in December when the DLC came out. I was really busy with work, so I went through that, and the DLC is really good. They found out a way to bring Handsome Jack's character into the game again because they can never just leave him in the past.
You're playing that on Stadia, right?
Yeah, of course. I'm playing the old version of Stadia. It's great. Nice. But I've also been playing through, and I'm almost done with because I'm working on it's for another video. But I've been playing through Enslaved again.
Oh wow!
It's been quite a while since I played this game. I will say this: it is not aged very good. The controls are pretty. But the story.
Hold on. You don't think that game's aged well, but you think
Pokemon's aged fine. Mystery Dungeon's Mystery Dungeon. It aged fine. Don't get me heated up again. I'm already trying to forget y'all for a minute. But no, Enslaved. The controls are a little clunky. It's weird. But I like the game a lot. I still really like the game. I'll talk more about it when I do that video. But yeah, that's about it this week.
What about Miss Click?
Hi. I played Jedi Fallen Order.
Oh, nice. All right.
I watched her beat it
so far. Oh, you beat it. You already finished it.
Yeah, it was really fast. I think we did it in 16 hours, so it was like 3 streams.
That's all right. Yeah. What do you think of that one?
So I liked it.
Okay.
It wasn't like, but for a game that literally was like kind of under the radar for the longest time, they didn't over advertise it. And I think in a way, even though it was kind of confusing at first, because I feel like they push a lot of games, I feel like it was good. Like if they had over advertised it would have been like, what's all this hype for nothing? Or not for nothing, but like, I hate the backtracking. It's like the same 3-4 planets you keep going to. Like, if there's one thing that really got me annoyed was like, we go back to a planet we were just at before the last one. It's like objectives all the way where you were, and you just have to go. Like, they pad the game because you have to backtrack.
Right.
Combat was super fun. I loved it. And like you had a lot of elements that were pulled in from other games, right? It feels like Sekiro, Dark Souls mixed with what else did we say?
A little bit of Metroid in there.
Metroid, the map reminds me just like Metroid Prime. I've not played
so much like Uncharted 4. It feels like Uncharted 4.
That's what a lot of chat was saying. Yeah. And I'm like some other thing. Yeah, the map reminded me of Metroid. Like I'd open up the map and I'm like, dude, am I playing Metroid right now? Like it felt like Metroid Prime. Really cool though. Overall, the story was good. I did like the fact that they had it just set outside of, like the stereotypical cookie cutter, cast of Star Wars at this point, though I love the cast. Obviously the end happens, which was cool. Super OP, but it was cool. Overall, it was a really solid game. And I hope that, they kind of take this and people who are interested in buying into it, and kind of like, I'll give this game a try. I hope if they do, bring the sequel, which it kind of basically sets it up for, I hope that, they put a little bit more, hey, we probably all expect that this is coming. We're gonna like really like put this in. As long as they don't change like the microtransaction aspect and stuff like that, I really think that they have something special set up. So I liked it overall.
Hey, a good Star Wars EA game, we'll take that. We'll take it.
Yes, yes.
Absolutely. What about, all right, Nate, I saved it for last because you always have interesting games. What do you got?
He's been on a dry streak
Too
recently.
early in the year for something weird.
Really? What?
I've been playing a good game, but it's under embargo, so I can't really talk about it. I can say its name.
Oh, okay. What's the name?
Super Crush KO.
Don't know what that is. What else you got?
It's from the guy who made Race to Explosion Machine.
Oh, okay.
Oh, hell yeah.
I know that. Okay. Cool. That's on the eShop as well? That's going to be on the...
Yeah, it comes out on the 16th.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So this week. All right, cool. We'll check out for that one. Are you going to have gameplay footage up for that then at some point?
Yeah, embargo's the 16th.
He'll have direct feed footage.
There we go.
Up, Fringe.
What did you play? Did you play any more Pokemon?
Yeah, I got up to I just finished the second gym.
Oof.
I mean, finally,
what?
friggin' Hop over there left me alone and let me actually explore and do things and didn't interrupt me
he'll come back.
steps and be like, hey, you want to fight me? Hey, we're at a bridge. You know that's a bridge? Walk the bridge. Hey, a bicycle. I'm like, okay, I get it.
I have bad news. As soon as you're on your way back to the third town where you're going to do the third gym, you have to fight him again.
I just kicked his ass after I left the second gym.
You fight him about 13 times.
He's great experience.
You are literally going to ruin this child's life. Like, you're going to crush all of his dreams.
Just keep making fun of him every time. Just watch as he darkly looks away.
Are you one of those people who avoid all of the trainers while you play?
No, I like fighting them because I want to battle them. The problem is, like, getting to the first gym, like, okay, I'm walking down the hill. The gym leader comes over to you, like, hey, that's my gym. Like, okay, I take 2 steps. There's Hop, like, hey, did you know the gym's right in front of us? Yes, Hop, I did. I just talked to the gym leader. And then 2 seconds after that, the guy's standing in front of the door, like, hey, you want to come in the door? Yes, I do. Why can't I just progress without having to be stopped every 14 seconds to be told this is a door? You can open it, change your clothes, throw the Pokeball out.
You know what?
Make sure you choose attack.
You know what it sounds like?
A tutorial on catching Pokemon in this game.
Evan, you know what? Doesn't it? It sounds like Nate. You know,
Nate would probably like Temtem,
right?
yeah.
Oh, there you go. I don't know when Temtem's coming to the Switch, Nate, but I'd be curious to get your take on that whenever that does happen after you playing Pokemon now.
I enjoy the presentation of what Sword and Shield has. The battling is still fun, exploration is still fun. The pacing, it just hits these random slow points for really no reason, where it's just overly explained for the point of, I guess they want to add dialogue sequences.
Okay. Like, you just find yourself mashing A over and over again kind of thing? Just like trying to get
like, I keep coming up to like the villains team, whatever their names are. And
Team Yell.
Yeah, they're just saying like,
they're not the villains. They're just Marnie's lackeys.
Yeah. They're just inconveniences, like, yeah, fight my Zigzagoon. Like, okay,
they're fanboys.
It's weird. Like, the pacing could be improved once you're not dealing with constant stoppage, and it's traditional Pokemon. It felt like they want to add fluff to it, and they're just like, well, we'll have Hop just come along, hop his way into your way, and disrupt everything.
How much of the wild area did you play?
A decent amount, until I kept getting my ass kicked by like friggin' Pokemon that were 3 times my level, and then I couldn't run away, and they just kept killing my whole team. I think I walked around for like an hour and a half and then got my ass kicked.
And did you do raids?
I haven't really done the raids much.
Do some raids. I mean, now that you have the bicycle and you have fast travel, you can go back to the wild area anytime, do some raids. Now with the promoted raids, you could get Gigantamax Pokemon early, which is like a fantastic Pokemon to have on your team throughout the entire game.
Yeah, I'll probably do that. That way I can break away from the traditional path and not go to the third gym, so I can avoid Hop for a little while.
Plus, the more raids you do, the more experience candy you get, and you can make one of your Pokemon disgustingly over-leveled if you like.
Right now, my Rabu is kind of overpowered.
No. Before the third gym, my Mew was level 48.
Okay, that's not, it's ridiculously overloaded.
Yeah, I was running raids with a guy who had a level 100 before his 4th gym. Like, just playing with that.
By the time I got to like, I think the 6th gym, it was in its 80s.
Let's move on, Evan. We have any Discord questions before we
I guess we could do this quick one. Anyone here actually slogged through the entirety of Xenoblade Chronicles X?
Yeah. That was because the problem you run into is, and I know this happened a lot for a lot of people. You don't get your scale until like
40
20, I think it was like 30 hours.
Yeah, it was like 30 40 hours.
And I think it was like 60. I mean, by the time I got it, I was like, what? This is a different game.
Yeah, when you get the scale, it's like, all right, this is amazing. That's the problem. I think a lot of people, like you're saying, slog through it because before you get that scale, it kind of feels like that at times. And I remember I tried to play off of the Wii U like tablet, and like the screen was too low resolution to read, and I'm like, what is going on here? But yeah, I remember. I think I had nearly, I think it was 80 hours in that game. So I played that was what, 20, was that 20? When did that game come out? I'm trying to think of what
it had to have been 14, I think.
It's been a bit
I started making videos.
And I was like, I would love for them to bring that over to the Switch so I could go back through it. But
that's the game that needs to be. No Pikmin 3, no Super Mario 3D.
Prepare for disappointment. I'm sorry, man.
We're getting a Pikmin 3. It's just a matter of time.
Disappointment. There you go.
Give me this. It's the only game that will benefit. Those games are not going to benefit from being on the Switch, except in terms of sales. Those games were not throttled by the Wii U. The Xenoblade Chronicles X was throttled by the Wii U. They had to do DLC packs for faster resolution textures and crap like that, and the text was too damn small. You put it on a more powerful system, you fix all the issues that you had with the game. It makes sense. Do it.
I think it'll do well on the Switch if they ever move it over. That'd be cool.
Maybe. Dude, the story is so good in that game. It's so good. I like it.
We have another Discord question, Evan, before I go through some of the super chats.
We got a question specifically for Sean. Since the turn of 2020, everyone's talking about game of the decade. Can we get a meat of the decade?
I like that. That's funny.
Serious.
It's got to be roast beef.
What are the nominees? What are the top 4 nominees?
I mean, you really can't go wrong. It has to be high quality. Like if you're buying the little...
no Arby's BS.
No,
I'm talking
if you don't say prosciutto.
See, I like prosciutto, but I only have it at holidays.
Then you're just not Italian enough.
What about gabagool?
What?
Gabagool.
Oh, gabagool.
Gabagool.
Capicola.
I have no idea what any of this is.
We're talking about Capicola, which is pronounced gabagool to the North Jersey and Brooklyn Italians.
It's too fatty.
I honestly feel like it's not even necessarily roast beef. It's just roast in general. Like when grandma makes the Christmas roast, it's like you can't beat it. And it has, the little gravy on it. And then, a couple hours later, there's the snowflake rolls, and you open up the snowflake roll and you put some of the roast beef on there and you drip some of the juice on there. And then you have the sandwich. And then like 10 minutes later, you're like, I want another one. So you go and have another. Like you can't beat it.
Okay, let's go. I'll go through some of these, some of the super chats as we go through here.
Can I actually? There was a super chat right before.
Okay. All right. Oh wait, he's here.
Exactly. There we go. Let me turn my camera back on. Sorry. So there was a super chat right before the show started. Our show glitched right as it began, and somebody left a super chat. And I wanted to say what it was. Somebody said, "What games that were on the 3DS or the Wii U do we most want to come to the Switch?" And I just wanted to get that super chat.
Yeah, there goes Xenoblade Chronicles X. Sorry, that's one. I would like to see Wonderful 101 because I didn't actually play that on the Wii U.
Oh, it's so good.
So I wouldn't mind actually playing it on the Switch.
You guys need to get copies of that game. Is like $10 on GameStop. You should guys pick it up. You should go pick it up.
I can't, the biggest one for me was Mario Maker. I was super into Mario Maker 1. Like while I was playing it was big, and I think Mario Maker 2. That's the one I would have wanted, and the sequel is everything the original was plus more. So that's all I wanted.
Okay.
Wind Waker, Twilight Princess.
Oh, dang it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I was like, we're forgetting about something.
Fish Fan asked about RGT's Deli Meat of the Week. We went over that in length, I would say, at this point, even getting to a Meat of the Decade there. Rikuki2 says, what other Wii U 3DS sports? That's one we just did. And then Trip and Fall says, with the Pokemon Direct, what that happened this week. Does RGT still have to smoke the cactus?
Nope. N-O. It was a direct.
No.
Nope.
It said direct in it.
I did not see that addendum in your contract.
Technically, it was a direct announced on Nintendo's Twitter handle.
But it's not
had the
even
word
Nintendo
direct. It happened?
It's a Pokemon Direct, which is run by the Pokemon Company.
But it was a direct on Nintendo's channel, Nintendo Direct.
I will go to court against you, Fringe.
All right, let's go. I will see you in
To be fair, if you go to the list of Nintendo Direct's Wikipedia page, it includes Pokemon Directs.
Thank you. Mitch is safe. Mitch has been, and look, I still think you're getting another an actual Nintendo Direct this month, so I'm doubly not worried about it. But no, the Pokemon Direct was a Nintendo-based Direct for Nintendo-based systems.
If you're this confident, then let's put up the bet again. We'll have a general Direct in the month of January. If not, you have to eat Mitch. My
grandma actually came by and was shocked that the plant was still alive. I told her it was doing fine. She kind of disagreed, but I mean, I think it looks fine. It's still like green and shit. Like, I don't know.
The chat's saying that's a cop-out. They are calling you out. You're a coward.
It's not even a cactus.
You took the first opportunity.
The chat also thinks it's a cactus.
It should be a cactus.
How about this? Sean,
eat a cactus.
Sean, do you think this week is the week for the Nintendo Direct, though?
I think so. With the
I'm kind of thinking so too. So,
and if it is, I think you're getting Dante and your Smash Brothers.
Dante's Inferno.
Dante's Inferno.
You're talking about Devil May Cry. I'm just kidding. I just want to piss everyone off.
You think we're getting it the week after the Pokemon Direct?
I don't see why you couldn't.
We've had it. It's happened before. So
I mean, and the Pokemon Direct really wasn't
outside of E3. Has that ever happened?
I think twice.
Normally, though, it's I think there was one where there was a Nintendo Direct and then a Smash Direct. If there's a themed Direct, sometimes there's a normal Direct a week after. But
in 2013, we saw a Pokemon Direct on January 8th, and then 2 weeks later, on the 23rd, we saw a Wii U Direct.
There you go, Sean. That would count.
There's the numbers.
We're gonna get a Wii U
another Wii U Direct. It'll be great.
Hell yeah!
In 2013, again. We had a Pokemon Direct September 4th, and then 3 weeks later, a Nintendo Direct. Oh, but that was for Wii Fit U, so that doesn't count.
It does. It's still a Direct. If you make a Direct, a Direct is a Direct. Are we counting Indie World presentation?
Oh boy!
In 2016, we had the Pokemon Sun and Moon and 20th Anniversary Pokemon Direct, and then the next week, March 3rd, we had a Nintendo Direct.
Oh!
Look at that. That was E3.
Okay.
And then more recently, last year, we had a Pokemon Direct last week of February, and then we had a Nintendo Direct 2 weeks prior.
Let's go through some more of the super chats. Travis says, "What are your thoughts on the Switch Pro rumors for summer 2020? Also love this podcast. Normally listen to it every Monday while I'm working." Travis, we're actually going to be going into that pretty soon. We're going to do the Pokemon DLC stuff, then we'll do the Switch Pro stuff. Thank you, Travis. We got you there. Nathaniel says, "With all the talk of the Series X, seems that everyone forgets the Xbox All Access program. What are the opinions of this given the $500-$600 price?" The Xbox All Access, of course, is the basically where you can finance an Xbox Game Pass. And I think they even throw in an extra controller sometimes, basically paying it off like a cell phone essentially over time. Which, I mean, if it works, it works, I guess. Microsoft just wants to get that box in your house somehow. So, I don't think they'll. I don't know. Would they finance like super cheap? I don't think so. But I mean, it makes sense for something that's $600. This is Max, this is about the Final Fantasy VII demo. Ask Dreamcast guy why he jailbroke a PS4 to play Final Fantasy VII remake demo early, and if he didn't, why did he get a code above actual Final Fantasy VII YouTubers? I do know Max did not jailbreak his PS4 though.
I do not have a jailbroken PS4. In fact, I don't know how to jailbreak a PS4. I don't know.
While he does a podcast with Modern Vintage Gamer.
So people here do not. If I want to jailbreak it, I might be able to. I have the see-through blue PS4, which can't be jailbroken. This is actually the newer one, so I don't have a jailbroken.
You say
PS4.
Can't like it's already not in the works. MVG, you got news on that?
Well, I will tell you this, guys. You need like a really early version firmware PS4 to jailbreak one. So I mean, most people don't. So
you gotta know people who already have one. At this point. I think
you gotta be on like firmware 5 or something like really. Like from years ago, essentially.
I never even looked into the jailbreaking scene for the PS4. I never even really thought about it for some reason.
Yep, same.
I'll admit I thought about it when the Final Fantasy VII remake demo leaked, but I don't know how to get into any of that.
So. The thing is that you can't. I mean, unless you have access to a like I said, a really early PS4, then there's no way you can.
Oh, well, there you go.
A jailbroken PSP.
I have a PS4 sitting around that I haven't turned it on since God of War.
Oh,
you're good.
Is that too late?
Maybe you got to check and see what firmware you're on, I guess.
Because I just bought a PS4 Pro for God of War, and I haven't turned the PS4 on.
How firm is your wear?
I think it's too late.
Actually, I played Fallout 4 on it, and then I don't think I turned it on after that.
Yeah, I think it's too late, dude. It's pretty early, the firmware, from what I recall.
Mm-hmm. All right, that's fine. I could wait like a regular patient human being.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's this week. Every week I'm like, maybe this week finally. Man, that article came out and was like, it's gonna launch the same day as the game. I'm like, no, don't do that.
I'm thinking, I feel like it's got to be soon. The fact that they put it on the PlayStation Store before Christmas, or I'm hoping the 20th anniversary, 25th anniversary of Final Fantasy VII is January 30th. So I think it'd be cool if they just like uploaded it then or around then. I have no idea.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool.
I like January the 30th. It's the anniversary of the game, right?
That's what Nate was mentioning, I think, right? Nate, is that what you were thinking? January 30th as well?
Yeah, it makes sense for the whole anniversary celebration of, here's the demo of the new game. You get to play that first area, whatever it is. I mean, it's the same demo, I assume, from E3. So it's just a nice way to give fans a little sample. I don't know where GameSpot got that ridiculous idea that
it said they really fixed they like added something to the article and was like, oh, that was just from their own assumption, kind of thing. So that scared me though for a minute. I was like, wait, we know based around leaks and stuff and data mining that at the end of it says pre-order now. Why would they put that out the same day? That's why I was like, that's weird. So Hopefully we get some time with the demo before the game comes out then.
I'm very excited for it.
Yes. I'm
can't wait to experience Final Fantasy VII for the first time.
It's different. It is very different. And so
Cody says, do you think the longer transition, the X series will have a shorter or longer lifespan than the one with regards to hardware staying to date?
Okay. What?
He's talking about
that's a great question. That's a freaking great question.
Well, we're going to be getting into the Xbox Series X stuff as well. I'll kind of talk to you a little bit about that as well. Actually, you did a video on it too, Sean. You know what we're talking about here. We'll come back to that, Cody, because we are going to add that in. But that's actually a good point to bring up, if that lifespan of the system will be affected by but they're saying maybe up to 2 years of cross-gen work from first parties. Console Gamer asked, got a Wii U last week, any hidden gems?
The whole library.
Point to the shelf. It's a hidden gem.
Just like an indie game that's been re-released on the Switch and buy it for $40 less on the Wii U.
Well, Sean pointed out Xenoblades. There you go. Chronicles X right behind him.
There's a lot of decent. Some of the third-party ports were really half-assed, but there's actually a few really decent third-party ports that you can get for like literally pennies on the dollar. I recommend Batman Arkham City Armored Edition because it really uses the gamepad well. And Need for Speed Most Wanted actually uses PC textures instead of the PS3 and the Xbox 360 textures. So it was actually the best looking version of that game that came out on consoles.
I also heard Devil's Third was very good as well.
Boo.
Where's the port of that?
I'll say I don't like Star Fox Zero. I think Star Fox Zero is a bad game, but it's also really cheap now. If you got a cheap Wii U, pick the game up. It's definitely unique. It's weird, but since it only exists on the Wii U, it's kind of interesting to play it.
Yeah, Five Below sells them.
Right next to Starlink for the Switch.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you know what? Starlink is actually for $7 for Starlink. That's actually a good deal.
Star Fox ain't been having a good run.
Black Friday was $10 with the toys. I would have.
I know. That's why I bought it.
Yeah,
that's all I bought it for.
Oh gosh,
I just wanted the toy. I haven't even played it. Oh my god! Look, we all got little R-wings.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think I broke mine. I stepped on mine when I was moving.
Oh, he has a sealed copy of it.
Yeah, here's mine still in the box.
There you go.
Mine's in a box somewhere.
I want to keep it in the box for its value to increase.
It'll sell.
How's that feeling right now?
Yeah, it might go up to like 6, 7, 8. That's crazy.
You know what? I own a shiny Charizard card, so I know the time to sell before it goes down to nothing.
I own shiny Charizard card.
Graded. Jack says, funny to me that people are still mad about how they're adding new Pokemon to Sword and Shield when it's happening exactly how it did on the 3DS. You had to wait for Bank to be compatible.
I have something to say.
You know what? Let's all right. I'm gonna stop the super chats there and we'll come back. Let's just go into the Pokemon DLC now and then we'll come back to that and any of the other Discord questions we have. So, Austin.
Yes.
Pokemon DLC. Paid Pokemon DLC. You were surprised by this.
Well, the first thing I want to point out that a lot of people don't seem to understand is there's going to be an update for Pokemon Sword and Shield that is completely free. That's going to support and have all the models and information for 200 plus Pokemon in the base game, which you can transfer via home or you could trade on the GTS where it's equivalent now. No problem. No, you don't have to pay anything. You are going to get it. But now, instead of you dishing out full price again for the V2 games, it's half price, and you're getting half of it early and half of it later. Fantastic.
And you don't have to start over.
Let's talk about what there's two expansion packs as part of the pass, and it's $30 total. So if you have Sword, you pay $30, you get all that stuff, and you're good. But if you also have Shield, you have to pay an additional $30 to get that one a pass, right?
I own 4 copies of the game. I think I'm only going to buy 1 copy of the DLC for Sword or for Shield because, like, if I go through all of this area. I'm only going to miss the, 7 to 20 to 30 Pokemon that I didn't have going through the expansion area. And as we saw, this game has a much larger online community than any other game in the past. So you can trade for them. You can go into raid battles of someone hosting that Pokemon, probably shiny versions of that Pokemon, everything.
So I have a question to ask here, okay?
Yeah.
Because you're very in tune with the Pokemon community. It is January 2020. All right, this was announced yesterday, day before. Okay, so about a year and 4 months ago, I suggested the idea of Pokemon doing paid DLC.
Okay, now I want to talk about the idea.
I will explain to you how the comment section went for that one.
And I already know exactly how it happened because the idea of doing DLC for Pokemon is shit. It's horrible. However, they were geniuses in the marketing of it. Instead of saying, hey, instead of us releasing Ultra Sword and Shield 2, instead we're going to take that content and we're just going to make that into DLC. Yes. Which everyone's like, yeah, absolutely, 100%. If they said, here's Pokemon Sword and Shield, and then we're going to sell you DLC, people would be like, boo, what the hell is that? No, that should be in the additional game. But
yes,
they were for the first time ever, they were good on how they did the marketing.
Sean, what's up? You're raising your hand over there.
And somebody asked this why I even made a video on the situation if I'm not really a big Pokemon fan. It's just because it's video games. I don't, I like talking about video games, and this was an interesting topic.
You do?
My thing is this with the game. I think it's fine that they're doing paid DLC. I don't like how and one of the things has been saying, oh, well, you don't have to buy if you break it down, it's more expensive than buying 2, versions of the same game because those games were $40 a piece. So that would be $80, which you're paying $90 for this. So $10 more to get the base game and the DLC. Not a big deal. My biggest complaint and with the biggest, and not even a complaint, just an issue I see with it personally, is the timing of this. The announcing of that you're doing additional DLC less than 2 months after the base game came out, when there was a lot of controversy over a lot of Pokemon not being in the game. And that just kind of rubs me the wrong way. Considering that the DLC, the first batch of DLC, isn't coming out until June, I feel like they should have waited a bit longer and maybe done something like talked about it in March. But I guess I kind of get why, because you had to talk about Mystery Dungeon to get all those people excited. But I mean, that's really my biggest issue, was just the timing of it. And you know, it seems a little suspect to me. That's all I got to say.
Hey, all I know is I was
However,
told that Pokemon would never do paid DLC. That's
hang on. Let's talk about it from a business perspective, because the Pokemon Company, they like to stream their investors briefing at the end of every May. And before that, they talk with the investors at the end of the fiscal quarter, and they can say, when we announced the DLC in January, we had this amount of pre-orders for it already. That looks great to investors.
It's a good point.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense.
I mean, it makes it parts of it make sense, and parts of it I just think don't make sense. But then again, I'm not like I always tell you in my Pokemon related videos, if you need actual better Pokemon content, please visit my union equivalent actor, Austin John Plays.
I mean, I don't even think there should be 2 passes. I think there should just be 1 pass, and it just links to your Nintendo account.
Well, there is just one pass for Pokemon Sword, and there's 1 pass for Pokemon Shield.
Well, that's what we're talking about. Like, if you want to expand for your account.
Pass. Yeah, just an expansion pass that you have.
So you're saying that it should be, you should pay 1 fee in DLC for 2 games?
Well, I don't think there should be 2 Pokemon games in the first place.
Yeah, but there is.
Well, yeah, but that's all Pokemon.
But here's the thing: are you playing both games fully to completion on your own, and then needing the DLC to play through it both separately?
I mean, there's slight differences to each DLC, isn't there?
No.
There's going to be different
characters.
There'll be a couple different Pokemon in between.
Urshifu is going to evolve into a different Pokemon at the end of the first DLC. And for the second DLC, you're going to go into different co-op raid battles that have different legendary Pokemon.
Right. And that's where the simple concept of Pokemon goes back to trading, and then using surprise trading and all that stuff. Like that's all
downplayed so much now, because whenever I host a raid of a Pokemon Shield exclusive Pokemon, I have 3 people playing Sword join me, and they can catch that Pokemon. They're the original trainer. So they're happy about that.
So do there need to be 2 versions?
Well, here's the thing.
Sell it twice. That's the thing.
Yeah, there will be people that may buy it twice.
Like, I'm trying to bring up a point of conversation. I'm realizing you guys just tell.
But here's the thing. There probably was some issue, since it is technically 2 separate games, of making 1 DLC work for 2 different games. So they probably still had to create a separate DLC for each. That's essentially the same thing with minor differences. That's my theory of why they still had to do 2 rather than just one encompassing one, no matter which one you have.
Yeah, but the last time they did that was Platinum.
They just know that, let's face it, my only problem is with the price, and I'm not going to buy it. I'm already not the target demographic. This is my point of view from the outside. Like, I'm just putting that card on the table. The fact that there's separate season passes for each of the games is clearly just to double their profit, because they know people already bought both the $60 games. Now they can sell $30 DLC for Sword, $30 DLC for Shield, and get $180 off of each fan. That's the only reason it exists. I don't like it, but I'm also not really a Poke fan anymore, so it's whatever.
I beg to differ. I don't think it's the only reason it exists, but I do think that's part of it.
Yeah,
I think there is some logistical reasons of why they still had to split the DLC.
It's called cream.
I'm the target demographic.
I mean, I'll be honest. Exactly. If I was in their position, I knew I could sell like the expansion pack.
I really hope people understand the cream reference in the chat.
If they don't,
cash rules everything around me. Cream.
They don't need to be
Why'd you spoil it?
I mean, in all, I think it's all super silly. People are just arguing about it. Like, if you want to buy 2 DLCs for both versions of the games, that's your prerogative. I think it's pointless, and I think it's a waste of money. But if you are someone who makes your living and that's your life, like creators, that's understandable. But if you're an individual who is just consuming these and you're complaining about it, like, you don't have to. Just trade it. And if that's really something that bothers you, like if your OCD is so over consuming that you have to buy both and you're complaining because it's another additional 60, you should probably get that OCD addressed before anything else. Because you're just going to be wasting money. So
that spicy chili. That spicy chili really got that.
Cat food does it, man.
Cat food, dude.
Yeah, but at the same time, the Pokemon Company and Nintendo sell a double pack with both games.
Yeah, but they're a company. Like, don't we talk about this all the time of like, they're a company that doesn't care about your feelings, and then we get upset when this happens. It's like, they're literally a company. You just said that last year. You know? Like, they're going to do whatever they can because they've done it for a long time. We're creatures of habit. Like, they've just been selling games together in pairs for how long at this point? And people are just going to do it now because they've always done it.
Plus, that's actually one of the fundamental cores of Pokemon. That's one of the reasons that Pokemon was originally created.
Yeah.
Because back when I remember looking up and reading the whole thing, one of the creators was a big fan of JRPGs. I think an early Final Fantasy game or something predecessing that, maybe the Dragon Quest series. And there was a rare item that his friend got, and he didn't get it. And then his friend got multiple of them, and he grinded through the game and still wasn't able to get in, and said, there should be a way that I can trade with this person. And that was one of the fundamental things put into Pokemon Gen 1.
What's that? Just
trading,
dividing up the Pokemon?
Trading.
Couldn't you just take each game and just have certain Pokemon randomly generate into everyone's game so that it's different for every playthrough, and then you have to trade anyway with just one version?
Say again?
So, like, couldn't they have it so that certain ones spawn in and others don't in someone's game when they play through? So it's unique to each person's playthrough, and then you're forced to trade.
Basically, setting a roster when you first start up.
Yeah, so some have to be in there, but then there are certain ones that will or won't be in your game. Everyone has the same amount of Pokemon in each game, but there are certain ones that will or won't appear in your playthrough, and then you're forced to trade. And then actually at that point, everyone has a more unique experience across the board, and they only sell one version.
That's not
it
a
sounds,
bad.
it sounds like something that should be in Temtem.
Temtem's just gonna have everything.
It might be. I don't know.
Is there two versions of Temtem? Is there Temtem Red and Blue?
I think there's only one.
Ooh.
Yes, there's only one.
Yeah, because it accesses the server because it's like an MMO.
Yeah, but we're talking about like mechanics that have been set in place for over 20 years. Will they maybe change it one day? Maybe.
No.
Do they need to? 6 million copies in 1 weekend? I don't think so.
Hey, all I know, I was told no P DLC for Pokemon.
I almost feel like Pokemon is, it's almost one of those franchises where, as harsh as this might be to say, but if you're expecting it to change or expecting it to grow, you're just setting yourself up for failure.
Correct.
Like every other franchise has grown. Every other franchise has branched.
Do you think that's why there was so much excitement around the idea of like a spin-off being announced of some kind during that direct?
I mean, well, if you look at the spin-off games, a lot of them were, I mean, look at Pokemon Coliseum on the GameCube. Like that was the best looking like you got these awesome looking the graphics were all great. The gameplay was the gameplay, but I feel like I don't know. It's just I think they're set in their ways. This is what it's going to be. And I don't ever think you're going to get a big leap. And Nate is going to come in and say, well, they shouldn't because it's selling a lot. And he would be correct. Yeah. But I just feel like, it's just a series that some people just maybe need to let go of if they really want to see all these advances and maybe play similar style games that are out there like Tam 220. Because that's maybe companies are starting to realize that there is a segment of Pokemon fans who want to see some sort of evolution. Like look at I know it didn't sell well, but like Yokai Watch 4, I believe that already came out in Japan, right?
Yeah.
Like the graphical style of that game was like, wow, I wish Pokemon looked like this. That's
all really bad too.
It's all like dog shit. Obviously, people don't want change.
Hey,
so.
I mean, honestly, if I'm running the Pokemon company, I'm not changing anything.
I'm rolling. Just bring back Pokemon Rangers.
Now, Sean, here's something. Pokemon Coliseum, fantastic game. Coliseum 2, Gale of Darkness, fantastic game.
I like XD.
Do you know how many Pokemon were in Coliseum during the single player playthrough?
No. What about XD Gale of Darkness had like 40? Yeah, it was 40.
48.
It wasn't
48 Pokemon.
Yeah, it wasn't
That's
that.
Now, if you were to say that we're gonna do a mainline RPG game and it's gonna have 48 of them,
I'm not even saying.
Well, check this out. Oh no. Also, I can tell you, people were mad online about that too. Then, because I was there, I was on the AOL message boards for that.
But also,
you know what? That was
I was in the trenches on that one. I was like 48. What are they doing here?
The Pokemon company has grown. It's not like they're, they grow every fucking year. Like they're making so much money, and it's just like,
oh, so they are growing and adapting.
Oh, I just remember
financially, not from like a development standpoint.
Oh, sorry, just gotta clarify. You said they were growing and changing, and they are growing and changing.
No, Pokemon Company is the agency that handles the Pokemon.
Yeah, but you can't sit there and say Game Freak because I'm sure Game Freak is hurting for money with every fucking Pokemon game breaking sales records.
Yeah, because no one bought the town game, Little Town Hero. They need money.
They could have sold one copy of that and been fine.
They did. It was the John.
Spawn bought it. Yeah.
It's one copy.
I mean, wait, I bought what? What did I buy?
Little Town Hero.
Oh, I did buy it. I was like one of the only people that bought it.
That's my main thing with Pokemon.
That game was so bad.
And a lot of us are older, in late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah.
On this channel. So we have seen the rise of video games since the NES. We've seen franchises grow and change and adapt. And it's just like Pokemon, which came out when I was 12 or 13.
You're old.
I know I am old. There hasn't been that big substantial growth with it, and it's just I don't know. Like you guys say, if it works, it works. But for me, it's just like
it's crazy. I can't believe that Game Boy game that came out way back in the '90s looks exactly like it Pokemon does now today. That's crazy that there's been no changes. It looks exactly the same.
It plays very similarly.
It plays very similar, and compare the leaps that we've seen with literally every other franchise in the world.
Hey, apples, oranges, the Penguins.
Have you seen Madden?
Yeah.
Well, Madden doesn't count.
It's the same people every year.
Even so, look at Madden on the Genesis versus Madden on the PS4. You're going to tell me that's not a
Pokemon on the Game Boy Color, Pokemon on the Switch.
Hey man, all I know is the hit.
It's the same fundamental gameplay. They're still passing the ball to each other, and they're still kicking it in between the big U thing.
Yeah, what's the difference between all these wrestling games you love? Just different graphic styles, but it's just men without shirts. It's men's without shirts.
There's no innovation.
It's men without shirts.
You know what I've realized?
Going in for the deep hugs.
You know what I've realized? We can't really tell if Nate's trying to say anything, so we should let him. We should let him say something about
Nate, you have something to
DLC.
say?
Do you have something to say about the Pokemon DLC, Nate?
It's a good business decision.
One, it is a good business decision. You wrestling fan fuck.
It's gonna make a lot of money, obviously.
Two, the internet radically overestimates how many people buy both versions of the game are going to buy both versions of this DLC. People aren't going to do that. It's not going to be 10 million people who do that. The internet radically overestimates that. So the whole, why you buy two versions, all that shit's overblown. People have to understand most buy one copy. They're going to buy one pack of DLC. That's reality.
I'm buying one DLC.
Yeah, when we have Austin buying one DLC, I think we can come to Earth.
I'm not buying any DLC. Somebody's trading me all 200 Pokemon.
Have fun.
Do you have bank?
I feel like we're never.
Bank?
Oh no! Wait, we didn't even find out about home, did we?
That's
not February. That's all they said.
Coming in the next months.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess
Pokemon Direct 2.
I don't think we'll ever get concrete numbers, but I'm going to make a statement. I bet that this is going to be some of the highest selling DLC ever.
It'll sell about half. If you take, whatever the game sold combined, both versions, it'll probably sell about half of that in DLC, like 100%.
They're going to flip a switch and make like obscene amounts of money.
Yeah, there's like, let me just press the $1 billion button. Boop. Yeah. All right, no innovation for us.
Compared to the Breath of the Wild DLC?
Yeah, way more.
Yeah. That's gonna be ridiculous.
What's the other thing, Mr. Tawny? Is that how you say his name? Isn't this like his first really kind of like breakout project with the DLC?
I have never seen him in charge of any other major project before, which just goes to show that the people who made Sword and Shield, Masuda and whatever the director's name is, I keep forgetting. They're already working on the next project, which
they're passing something along.
Which they always do that. That's what they did with Oris. That's what they did with Ultra. Here's what I'm thinking. People love the wild area. Yes. Loved it. Best part of the game. Without the wild area, it'd be shit. Let's be real here. And the next game that they're planning doesn't have that. So they want us to enjoy the wild area and them to bank on that. Because programming wise, super easy, barely an inconvenience. They just create the dens, boom, done. That's the reason it was so easy to exploit. It's very basic numbers in there. And then when we got to 2021 holiday and it's Diamond Pearl remake still on the Sword and Shield engine, people are going to be like, oh, well, it doesn't have the wild area. That's fine. I had Sword and Shield and the the Sword and Shield DLC.
Okay.
So Diamond Pearl remake's confirmed.
Unless they put a wild area in my Diamond Pearl remake.
The idea of this DLC is that there won't be a third version to add on the Sword and Shield, right?
That is what this is substituting. So and somehow people are angry that
so if they
a third version and they think this is a bad direction.
Okay, so if they do announce a third version, that's a problem, right? That would be a problem.
Yes. If they announce a third version, then it will just be Sword with the expansion content packed into one.
What if it's Pokemon Axe?
It's gonna be gun.
Pokemon gun and axe.
Goes, hey bitch, you want to get man?
If they do, then they're liars, right?
I mean, we're banking on the fact. Okay, they're not going to do that.
During the direct, they did say that this expansion passes some of the things that they're excited to talk to us about. They didn't phrase it like that. They phrased it saying. And if you read into it, it could mean that, you know, if they decide in 2021 to do more DLC, but at the same time, let's talk about it from a business model. The DLC isn't going to make them nearly as much money as a full release does. That's the reason that every other game is a brand new game.
Yes. I'm just okay. That's fine. I'm just again putting that out there. Just like, you know,
I think we're more likely to get Let's Go Togepi and Let's Go Marill than we are Pokemon.
I thought about that. I'm like, yeah,
that's exactly the damn names.
I think you're not gonna get Pokemon Gun. Obviously,
they had to cut a third version to fit their 3 game cycle. Now we have to have our mainline series continuing, we have to have the remakes continuing, and we have to have this Let's Go bridge to the
DLC. The DLC will keep these ones relevant through another holiday, so these actually could end up being like one of the best selling series.
I feel this year we're going to get another Let's Go towards the end of the year while the DLC works on this, and then we'll get in 2021 the
hang on a second
game.
Now that Pokemon is on the Switch,
yes,
Nintendo looks at it as a big picture, right? Like, okay, we have the 3DS. Every holiday season, we have a Pokemon game that pushes the 3DS numbers. Now we have the Switch. And if we have Pokemon every single year on the Switch, then that's going to be fighting the other IPs for the holiday season.
It didn't fight the other last year. Didn't not fight Luigi's Mansion. Like, they all sold well, right?
Luigi's Mansion did nothing compared to
Derek,
nothing's ever gonna do anything. No one's gonna. The only thing that could touch Pokemon's numbers is like a Mario Kart, a Zelda, stuff like
Breath
that.
of the Wild.
Right, that's
what I'm saying.
But that's where
you can release a Breath of the Wild.
If they wanted to put out Breath of the Wild 2 for holiday 2020, they don't want a flagship Pokemon game holiday 2020.
And that's where the Let's Go games go. They can put a Let's Go game out in like September.
They still wouldn't even do a Let's Go. That's if they are doing a Let's Go, they would stagger them like 6 to 8 weeks apart. That's what they usually like to do.
That's what I'm saying. It could be a September release or a March release. I'm thinking
they're going to have a Let's Go this year and then have the second.
No, it won't be this
package of this DLC in the fall. Like, there's no chance that's happening. The only Pokemon you're getting this year, as far as the main line goes, is the pack in June and the pack in fall.
By the end of November.
Okay.
It's probably going to come out the same time Pokemon normally comes out.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. They'll just ride the DLC for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, that's good. It sets them up.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, they don't have to package another game, sell some DLC, keep selling these ones. Makes sense that.
And honestly, keep the conversation going. I feel like that's something Nintendo games don't have this as much, but what a lot of people sort of forget is games usually slope off really hard. Is everybody buys the hell out of them, and then pretty quickly they go like just real badly. And I feel like Nintendo games don't have that as much. They actually keep selling pretty decently. But if you have updates and you have big DLC and you have big game events, it keeps people buying it longer. So I think that this is also partially just a way of getting people to buy Pokemon Sword and Shield Christmas 2020.
Do you moving on, Evan? We have a Discord question.
Oh, we got a couple. Yep.
You want to hit us with one while we move over? We're gonna move over to the Switch Pro / Switch revision rumor stuff as well after that.
Would you buy the Alienware UFO concept if it becomes a thing?
Depending on price, yes.
Yes, 100%.
Right?
100%. Yes. It's basically Steam
Hot
on
garbage.
a Switch.
It's a piece of hot garbage. Do not buy that junk.
I'm buying it. Oh, you know I'm buying it. We're
opening the hell out of that.
You're going to tear it apart, right?
That's exactly.
That makes a good video. But come on, have you seen
I'm
that?
pre-ordering.
You're going to get 1 hour of battery life out of that thing. Why bother?
Bro,
I probably get
like,
so hot.
Dude, I have 5 PSPs. Gaming for an hour is what I'm used to.
What do you think it's gonna sell for though? 800 to 1,000?
I think it'd be at least
$1,000.
$1,000.
$1,000.
Yeah.
Well, there's no GPU. It's just the integrated graphics.
Hey, man, 4-part video coming up.
They should just call it the the UFO. They should just call it the write-off.
It's gonna
That's
be
all it's gonna be.
Let me guess the 4 videos. It's gonna be I pre-ordered the Steam Switch, and then it's gonna be the unboxing the Steam Switch, and then I regret buying the Steam Switch.
Hey, I had to figure out that Atari VCS. I'll figure out the UFO.
Oh,
God. What was that video they released? They posted a video on Twitter of them like booting up Windows.
They booted up Windows and like it was a miracle or something.
They're like, look, it's Windows.
Yeah,
it would make a good portable Stadia machine.
Oh no!
Yeah, like
Stadia
anyone's gonna
window.
remember Stadia by then.
I think if they got it down to somehow 600, which they won't, it would sell very well. But it's probably going to end up landing around 800 to 1,000, and it's going to be more of a niche thing for, because obviously the whole Steam on your couch with the Steam controller didn't take off as much as what they wanted it to. And all these companies now on Steam that are porting their games to the Nintendo Switch, they do this. Boom. That's not a competition anymore.
You know what I really liked?
Catch 'em all.
the one thing I really liked out of that UFO was that they had those ring lights around like the joysticks, the RGB ones.
Yeah.
That was the coolest part about it. Like if Nintendo did something like that with their Joy-Cons, I think it'd be cool.
Listen, other than that, the freaking weird like straight box to
The bezel thing is like messing with me.
disgusting, dude.
I love
Look at
it.
this.
Gets
Messing
me.
with me.
It looks like an early 2000s car. It's a piece of shit, and I
man.
want it.
I get it. They probably drawed inspiration like around the hype of like the Cybertruck kind of style, but
Exactly.
Cybertruck, dude.
You need to be able to
I don't know,
Order one
man.
right now. I'm gonna pre-order a Cybertruck
I
right
mean,
now.
I already
Have you
did.
seen the Alienware
I forgot
desktops and laptops? They all have weird lines like that.
Yeah, you're right. They do. Yeah.
All right, let's move over to the there was a new Switch revision rumor, which was very, very odd.
Again?
When this popped, dude, this was
It's been a week.
Another
yeah, it's
one.
been a week. This was interesting because it actually comes from apparently a source that actually has information about their supply line and supply chain for building this revision that I guess they're ordering now. MVG, is that we're hearing they're ordering stuff to create some sort of new Switch revision of some kind.
Yeah,
What it
interesting
sounds
info. I still wonder if it's not going to be anything more than just a kind of a refresh, let's call it.
Here's where it gets very interesting because they were the one thing they were able to name, which was odd, was magnesium alloy body, and this was also from Dr. Serkan Toto, who also kind of backed it as well after New York Times put it out there, retweeted it. It was from a Digitimes, which is a Taiwanese manufacturers reportedly crafting the unconfirmed Pro model with a magnesium alloy body. Now that's generally used as a support structure inside of some stuff like laptops. Could be used for more premium feeling outer casing, right? Like it wouldn't be plastic, it would be more of a metal on the outside. And that's where people are thinking, oh, it must be for like a more premium model. Like the one thing you want to do is if you're going to sell a premium model, you probably don't want to build it out of all like plastic, right? You want to have something that's a bit different. To do something like a magnesium alloy would be interesting if they would actually pull that off.
I mean, especially with the Joy-Cons being so flimsy, the way they are on the plastic case.
I do wonder because I remember that we heard about a Switch Pro upgrade, something alongside the Mini at the time last year, and then nothing happened from it. Now they're saying because of the supply line and where ordering is taking place, they're predicting mid 2020, so like the end of summer is what they've been saying at this time, which means they would probably announce it ahead of E3 for like an August launch.
No, Nintendo's done announcing things at E3 for systems.
What do you think, Nate?
One, no Pro is going to be announced in 2020.
Oh.
A revision of some sort that maybe switches to a more premium body where Nintendo can possibly charge you a little more and get rid of the current Switch and just justify a $300 price by modifying the shell. Maybe I can see that type of revision happening. But DigiTimes back in 2016 said Nintendo was manufacturing a phone.
I was going to get to
because they source screen suppliers.
I was going to get to this. They've been wrong quite a bit.
They have, yeah. I was going to mention the same thing. And a lot of the analysts like Daniel Ahmed, I mean, a lot of them are basically holding firm on the fact that it's going to, there's not going to be a Pro this year. And I think there will be revisions, or at least one revision. I don't think it's going to be the Pro, though, as we think it is.
I think there will be some sort of revision as well. I don't know if they're going to blow up the whole user base and have this specific system that third parties are demanded to develop for, so they can put big games on there or anything. That'd be odd to me. Let's say they release it and it's a $400 system. We've seen these Pro systems not sell as well as their base models already for the Xbox and the PlayStation 4, which just seems like it would be an odd road for them to go down. But if it is a revision and it's like it is a better looking, sleeker looking system, I think that'd be kind of neat, especially if they took it and maybe they overclocked the CPU somewhat, and maybe they actually took advantage. You've talked about this MVG of the of Mariko's extra headroom there where they can overclock it somewhat. And hey, if it's magnesium alloy, it technically will actually dissipate heat better if they want to use the casing to help out with some of that. It would be interesting, and because of that, they could probably even make it a little thinner if they wanted to, but they're limited by the Joy-Cons on the side because it has to meet up to the dock and all of that. But can
you hear me? Did everything work? Sorry, my computer randomly restarted. Is my microphone on? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I thought you fell asleep for a few.
I have some serious questions about the idea of this, though.
I think when it comes down to a Switch revision, either it's going to be quiet and it's going to just replace the Switch like we saw with the V2, or it needs to be visually different. They know that the way that they sell an additional unit or a different unit is it to be visually different. Like if they did a Switch XL or something like that, they're never going to make money by selling a Pro model. It needs to be visually different. It needs to have different not the different features, just it needs to look different.
I mean, it could be very well used that alloy is being used to maybe help. I guess make it a bit more structurally sound if they wanted to make a bigger Switch. I guess. I also had the idea. I thought that was kind of funny, is if they tried to in some way passively cool the thing and build one without a fan to make either sleeker.
Yeah, that's how the Surface tablet is. Magnesium is the cooling. That's it.
Yeah, use something like that in that sense, and they want to eliminate the fan and make it look, I don't want to say more adult, but you know what I mean, like less plastic, more metal. You know what I mean, like sleeker.
I mean, my Surface Pro is pretty much just as powerful as the Switch.
You know what? I hope they do make a Switch XL, and I hope it just has a really dumb name like Big Switch, and it's just a giant ass stupid tablet.
Switch totally Plus.
Switch Plus, yeah.
Yep.
I'll buy it.
New Switch XL Plus.
I would buy it though if it showed up and it was I mean, how much they had to make that thing? Like $350 at the
I would say 350. I think if this thing's real, which it's probably not, but let's say it is, it's 350, man. If it's 399, then you're getting into PS5 territory, or you're getting into the Lockhart or well, you're not getting into Xbox Series X because that's going to be more obviously, but you're getting into the next generation, and I think that's just not the target demographic and the target audience that they're going for.
The problem I have with
$379.99
Switch is who's it catering to?
Exactly.
Me.
If it's the exact same Switch that it is now, it has a bigger screen and a new shell, you're going to drop $350 to say, well, it's the same system. It just has a different screen.
Well, no. On the internals, they would definitely make it more powerful. It would be
if it's more powerful, yes. Yeah.
Just they would sell it by it being visually larger.
Nate, I bought a Switch Lite just to take it apart, remove the thumbstick, and then drop an Xbox One on it. Yes, I would buy the Switch. Yes, I would buy the new Switch.
What kind of Xbox One? Talking?
There's a video.
VCR.
There's a video
on the Switch Lite.
Yeah, over here.
It is super comfy. It's like really fun to play on.
Yeah, it fits your hands so good.
Just rub your hands across. Yeah,
you don't have that weird creaking feeling.
Yeah, I like it feels more solid, but I also like the buttons because they're not like clicky Joy-Con buttons. You know, they're more like the Pro controller. But I actually like that more. It sounds weird, but it's technically quieter. I guess
the pixel density being a little bit sharper actually kind of feels a lot better. And
but it's all about the pixel. You know what I mean? So if this was like,
I'm fine with it being plastic, it's $200.
You get what I'm saying, though. If it was all metal, it had some other advantages over it. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, that's kind of more like Evan's saying, like a Surface, tablet kind of thing, where it's like it's for, I guess, what premium, I guess, is what they're trying to.
One way, you aside, because you would buy one because you want it, right?
You'd buy it if the A button was slightly larger than the current Switch. So
where would it benefit just the average consumer? You know what I mean? Because everything on the Switch runs really well anyway. Unless it's going to boost performance with like loading times, which potentially could happen. They could boost the CPU clock slightly just to help with loading speeds, right? I that's a very good use case that I think is very valid and something they may actually do. But other than that, where does this fit in the ecosystem of
that's what I'm struggling with. It would have to have a massive difference from the other stuff. That's my problem.
If you told me that
we're not looking at a Pro
to play Breath of the Wild and they would unlock the frame rate to like 60 FPS, which on Cemu, the Wii U emulator on PC, you can play Breath of the Wild at 4K 60 FPS.
But dude, you need a 8-core i7 9900K to get that. I mean, that's not something that a Switch is ever going to achieve ever.
But a 1080 screen at 60 FPS. That's not unreasonable.
They could do that with the current internals of the V2. They just chose not to upclock it and they preserved the battery life. So if they wanted to use the current chip and use that extra overhead that is available to them, they could do that at the loss of battery life. So they wouldn't need new internals. They just can put that in a new premium shell and say, we're getting rid of the original Switch. This is replacing it for $300. We still have 2 SKUs on the market. And it's just a quiet revision to get rid of the cheap
if they want to get crazy, honestly, just make a little box like we've talked about before and make it either cheap or just better in some way when it comes to performance.
That'll be the end of the generation.
Just do that.
Of revision that they'll throw on the shelves.
They have their handheld, they have a hybrid, make a box.
Remember the $99 Nintendo Wii that they released?
Yep, I brought that up. Yeah,
Beauty, the black and red last
week. And it doesn't have internet capabilities, and it doesn't have GameCube controllers.
Yep, can't do anything, but it does play Wii games.
Remember how horrible that was?
Didn't that only release in Canada as well or something? It was like really weird. Yeah.
Canada, and I think there was like one region in the US, like Ohio or something.
You give that thing a hard time, but that thing does one job and it does it well. And you put the game in and you play it. None of this updates and patches and sign into this network system. It just does what's supposed to.
You put your Netflix disc in, nothing.
But there's no virtual console on it.
No, that's right. Well, there's no virtual console on the Wii anymore anyway, so look where we are now.
Yeah, but we're talking about the Wii, all right?
Yeah.
We're talking about 2006.
Well, if they're not building some sort of Pro or revision, because if they're building a revision with this metal, we can't figure out what it's for.
If any Switch Pro is to exist, it would probably be maybe in 2021. But at that point, it might be more Nintendo flirting with the idea of a actual Switch successor, and they're going the path similar to what Microsoft is doing,
where they're going to make it so the transition period is super long, like longer than usual, which we can actually work into here now. This was interesting, where we found out that apparently over the course of the Xbox Series X's. And what do we even think of what the Lockhart's going to be called yet? If that does, I mean, we assume it's going to be coming out at the same time. Have we really thought about what that's a Series S?
Series S.
Yeah.
Gotta be.
Okay. I do think it's going to be called like S and X again. I do think there will be like an XX and an XS.
Oh, I can go over this is actually from Matt Booty, who is the Xbox Game Studios manager, essentially. So he manages all the different studios, makes sure everything's going well. Kind of like what Shuhei Yoshida did with the Sony studios, basically. And he said, as our content comes out over the next year, 2 years, all of our games, sort of like PC, will play up and down that family of devices. We want to make sure that if someone invests in Xbox between now and Series X, that they feel that they made a good investment and that we're committed to them with content. He did also talk a little bit about, I believe, Halo, saying it's the first time in over 15 years that we'll see a Halo title launching in sync with a new console, and that team is definitely going to be doing things to take advantage of the Series X while also supporting the X, the S, and the VCR.
Interesting.
Is it a good idea to have what could potentially be up to 2 years of a transitional period where first parties are working on both generations at the same time for each game?
For consumers, yes.
Yeah.
It's great. For the Xbox brand, it's risky. It's very bold strategy, almost like the Xbox Series X has a very bold strategy, but will it work? Done by RGT85 today. Go watch that video. My biggest thing is this. Gosh. You're I kind of looked over the positives and the negatives of it in the video, but one of my biggest takeaways is the fact that you're not really giving people an incentive to go out there and get the Xbox Series X if the same games are available on the Xbox One. And like that to me is important, because one of the reasons that Microsoft struggled this generation was with the Xbox One was because of the fact that it got off to a very sluggish start. It got off to a sluggish start, and if you're not really giving consumers that reason to go out there and get the system within the first year or two, because let's be real, the Series X is going to be the most expensive system on the market. So I feel like you have to have a reason to want to go out there and buy it.
That's all I said in my video. I got so downvote bombed. People called me an Xbox hater and said I wanted it to fail, but that's literally my exact same point of view too, is that there's not going to be a push. Like, there's not going to be that excitement for the next generation. A lot of people in my comment section are saying, great, now I don't need to buy an Xbox Series X. People are excited now, where it's like, cool, that Xbox One, I bought at a yard sale in 2013 or whatever. Like, I'll just play Halo on that. Who cares?
Well, and the thing of it is that, you're gonna have PlayStation coming out with exclusives like you saw with every PlayStation that comes out. Look at the PS4. Okay, you could question the quality of those exclusives. I've seen a lot of people say, well, it's not like the exclusives that come out at the launch of a system usually aren't, indicative of the best stuff. Nobody really talks about Infamous and Killzone and things like that, but those are strictly just incentives. Look at what this new system can do. You can only play this game on this system, so if you want to check out the latest and greatest in your technology, here's the way to do it. And I just feel like it's a very PC style mindset, and PC and console gaming has been doing a good job of bridging together and sort of coming to some sort of middle ground. But I just don't know if the general console gamer and the general console consumer are ready to adopt that PC mindset. And you could sit there and talk about scaling all damn day, but the scaling thing, people are saying, oh, it's not going to throttle game development. I mean, how do you figure? Like, you're talking about 7+ year old technology here with the Xbox One VCR.
Well, people were already saying that they had problems with that this generation, weren't they?
For Halo Reach.
A bunch of people were saying that they were having a problem where they were trying to make PC games, which are constantly advancing. Tech is accelerating more and more and more, and they were having to really downgrade stuff to put it on a PlayStation 4. They were talking about there was this like stopgap of, okay, then we either need to not put it on PS4 or work less on the PC version. So if you tell them, okay, you're going to have to put your thing on 5 consoles, because imagine it's got to work on like Xbox One, Xbox One X, Xbox One S, and Xbox Series X and PS5, they're gonna be like, I'll just put it on PS5.
And that's another. Sorry. My final thing to say about it is third-party developers, because third-party developers, they like to see big system sales. They like to see a big install base. If the Series X, because a lot of third-party developers aren't going to do what Microsoft is doing. The first year, probably, but 2 years into the gig, if there's a small install base on the Series X comparative to the PS5, I would think more third-party developers would be going towards wanting to work on the PS5. That's obviously going to have a larger install base if this thinking doesn't catch on, and it can. I'm not saying it's going.
Well,
to be
usually
failure,
it's up to the first party company like a Sony or a Microsoft to develop games that then sell the system, so they build their install base.
Right. It's a very bold strategy, like I said in the title of my video, and it's like nothing we have ever really seen before. So I'm not going to sit here and say it's not going to work. I just see some flaws in the mentality, but it could end up being a success.
Hold on a second. Is it really any different? Is it something we've never seen before? It's just the message has come out so early, in the piece, right? Because
yes, and I think that's another thing too.
Yeah, I think the timing of the message is very interesting, and I think that's where it gets people a little confused about what their strategy is. And I agree with you, man. I mean, I think Microsoft, it could backfire for them. But if you really go back and think about it, I mean, cross-gen games during the kind of dawn of a new generation of console, that's always been a thing. So that's not really what they're telling us here doesn't really seem like it's any different than what we've seen in the past. And I guess the other thing I will say is, we don't know what Sony has got lined up. We're assuming they're coming to the table with exclusive PS5 games, but we don't know for a fact that they are going to do that, right? We're not certain if they're going to have cross-gen games as well, even though we've heard about what Bluepoint's working on. We don't know specifically if that's a PS5 exclusive.
There was a leak last year that I remember reporting on, which basically talked about that apparently Sony, as of like April 2019, was telling people start PlayStation 5 games. Like, if you're already working on a PlayStation 4 game, finish it. But like, apparently the internal memo was like, all right, we want to make sure that in the first 2 years we have a lot of PlayStation 5 games. Now, who knows how real that was, but I feel like that messaging is important internally. So if Microsoft is just saying, hey, like, put it on whatever you want. You'll put it on a basic Xbox, cool. You want to put it on a Series X? Sure. I don't know.
Nate, you had mentioned this whole thing with the Series X. What was your take on this?
The problem that I've been seeing with the discussions around this is that they're focusing on it in the wrong way, where too many people are viewing it as a traditional console generation. Microsoft in 2020 is breaking from that shackle. They're no longer confined to the definitions of what a console generation is, because Microsoft's goal moving into 2020 is about getting the number of players in their ecosystem to grow. And they're going to use Series X and the Xbox One to achieve that goal. They want Game Pass subscriptions. They want xCloud users. They don't care if you play Halo Infinite on an Xbox One or you play it on a Series X. They just want you in their ecosystem. Yeah. What the conversation has mostly been is that people are saying, well, why am I going to buy a Series X if I can buy that Microsoft game on my Xbox One? Well, Microsoft I think doesn't care. They're like a sale's a sale.
Yeah, but they're gonna leave the Xbox One behind at some point, right?
Well, they will leave it behind. I mean, remember, this guy's statement is just for Microsoft games. What has Microsoft really put out outside of 2013 and 2014 in terms of published games each year?
Well, so they also they've also had a statement that they have 15 studios now total. It talked about it in that same article, and they said that their plan is to try and come out with a big game every 3 or 4 months. So their plan is to have like some sort of big patch or DLC or a giant release. So every 3 months you have to talk about Xbox. So the idea of that much cross-gen, like what, 4 or 5 big cross-gen games every year, that seems weird.
Getting on to what Nate was saying, yeah, it makes sense because they're going, they control the store. Just like now Windows is free. Windows is free. It doesn't cost you $90 anymore. They just want you to have Windows, and then they're going to sell you ads and you're going to buy things through the store. They make commission on that. And as soon as hardware comes out, hardware's expensive. And then if they're making the same Xbox for 2 years, after a year, 2 years, the price of making that unit is going to go down. Oh, excuse me. So they're not really rushing on people buying it day one. If you're on the same ecosystem on this system or this system, that it's all money to them.
And like, that's all Microsoft is looking to do.
I mean, hell, if you think about this, if someone goes out and buys an Xbox One X versus a Series X, they make more money.
But the thing of it is, I'm not necessarily saying that I don't get what they're trying to do. My main thing is, I don't think a company has never, a video game company, not including PC, has never come out and done what Microsoft is doing and is trying to transition into what Microsoft is transitioning into. I just don't know that this idea is necessarily going to work. I don't know.
It's not going to work, dude. They've lost the next generation. Yeah, honestly, I think they're basically conceding already to Sony, and they're saying, "Hey, we're gonna basically like you guys said, we're going to try to get our stuff in as many systems as we can." And I think that's really what they're going for.
In that same interview, I just want to say one last thing, which is in that same interview, they already said that they don't see Sony as rivals anymore. They're like, there are other people in the same circle. So clearly they're already at the point of just being like, we're not fighting the PlayStation 5. We're just selling games in the corner.
Yes, and that's right. Microsoft is no longer going to look at it saying, we have to sell 100 million units compared to Sony's 80 million units. Microsoft's going to view it as, we have 300 million people in our Xbox ecosystem. Sony has 100 million in the PS5 ecosystem. Yeah, we might have only sold 50 million Series X's, but if we have that amount of people active in the ecosystem, we win.
I need to see some of those. I need to see them prove that number.
And you know what?
That's what they're building towards. That's Microsoft is expanding their reach outside of their box. The Xbox is a brand now. It's no longer just a console. And Microsoft is looking to the future of where they can take gaming. They want to become Netflix for video games. But it's a risk. If they succeed, they're going to transform the industry.
No matter what they say now before release, it can't be worse than the press conference that they had before the release of the Xbox One, where they were talking about DRM and how impossible it is to play and share and sell a used game.
That reveal TV, right?
I see them because I see them still behind. All right, so they want to have they want their services to account for. Like that's what they're competing on right now is what you're saying, Nate. They want to bring in as many people as they can. They want to generate services, network revenue, right?
Yes.
Okay. Because I still see Sony make more than them in that by quite a bit.
Game Pass right now is not profitable for Microsoft.
Well, Phil Spencer said it doesn't bleed them money. They're actually making money on it. He said that last month.
They're making, for what they're making is trivial.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's still their gamble to build it. And once they do get that base built,
right, then
it's going to become a very lucrative business.
But you need to bring in people through one of the gateways, which would be your console.
Mm-hmm. So, people say, everyone says when. I'm more saying if.
My concern is it doesn't sound like they're as aggressive as I was hoping they'd be going into next generation right now. Yeah. I mean, at E3, they could prove me wrong. They could show up with some awesome stuff. But my concern as an early adopter for the Series X, because I'm going to get it the day it comes out, my concern is they're going to have this awesome machine and they're not going to be able to take advantage of every single thing if they were just developing for that box, because they have to account for the machine from 2013 that's using DDR3 memory.
And a mechanical drive.
And a mechanical hard drive. That's my biggest concern. Like maybe Halo Infinite looks like maybe it looks like wireframe on the Xbox One, right? And it's terrible. And it's like significantly better on the Series X, and that'd be cool. But that's really my biggest concern would be that, because there is still a point to building a large install base overall. And you can just look at Sony in 2018, their network revenue overall for the PlayStation Store was more money than all of Nintendo's year put together.
Jesus Christ.
And that's because of their install size.
I just think that if Microsoft is going to do this right, my personal hope is that the Xbox Series X, and this is what I was the main point of my video, I hope it has something that makes it feel special. We saw some cross-gen games. We've talked about there were cross-gen games last generation, but a lot of times they were missing like part of the campaign or the multiplayer was different or something. I want to see that again. Honestly, I want Xbox Series X to be the best version of it. Like imagine if you play Halo Infinite on it, you get instantaneous load times in multiplayer or something. Like something to make it feel like, hey, congratulations, this is the next generation. I want to get excited for it.
I wouldn't assume that. I mean, Microsoft already said, even in that interview, Halo Infinite is going to take advantage of the Series X hardware. Mm-hmm. So I'm not concerned that the next Forza game is going to look like shit on the Series X because they also had to build it for the Xbox One. Microsoft is a big company. These developers are big companies. They can outsource the Xbox One port to a studio that is smaller who can handle it like they did with Titanfall. Titanfall was handled
my gosh, did you play Titanfall on the 360? All right, this is where I'm excited because there is a chance for some hilarity for the Xbox One, okay? Because Titanfall on the 360, that was something else.
It's you can't really compare that though, because that was a completely different architecture. See, the way you got to think about this now is it's just like running a PC game with the graphic settings. You know, you got your low, medium, high, ultra. I mean, that's the way you got to think about this when you think about the, you know, everything from the VCR to the Series X, because they're all PCs at the end of the day. They all run x86 code.
Sure. I hope, like, I feel like we will. Like, is Hellblade not coming out in the first 2 years then? Because that's a Series X exclusive.
No,
we don't know when it's coming out. Early on.
Okay, that's what. Okay, so the Initiatives game probably isn't coming out then the first 2 years.
Well, that's the thing. Probably the most ambitious Series X games in development right now.
They'll be in third year.
Are not going to come out between 2020 and 2021. And as the guy says, it's 1 to 2 years. That's very non-committal. It's not saying, oh, we're not going to have an exclusive game until 2022. If they see massive adoption to the Series X in 2021, and they had some project that was maybe, we could do without the Xbox.
Throw away the VCR.
2022, they'll cut it.
Yeah, they will. Yeah, they're
going to gauge everything early on.
But then we come back full circle. What would be the main big reason for the early adoption?
The early adoption is the same for every generation. It's the core enthusiast who's going to buy it, whether the system just came out and it's a Malibu Stacy with a new hat. It doesn't matter. Oh, it has a new hat. I have to buy it.
You just make a Rugrats reference?
That was a Simpsons reference.
But that didn't work for the Wii U.
The Wii U was a marketing disaster from the first E3 showing.
I thought it was a tablet, right?
I really want a shirt that says core enthusiast now. I'm like, hello, I'm the core enthusiast.
Like Halo Infinite should sell it should sell Game Pass subscriptions easily, but I would like to think it'll sell Series X systems, provided it makes launch, of course.
I mean, we can use this as the example of Nintendo, where they said they want to make the Switch basically a never-ending platform. So if Nintendo announced Switch 2 coming out in 2021, and there'd be no exclusives to the Switch 2, would you buy a Switch 2, or you say, well, I already have a Switch, I can play all the games on it? You're going to buy the Switch 2 because you want that better performance.
But we're also all video game related channels on YouTube who are going to get
the general populace. You show a commercial,
but
this is EK, and the idiot's
the way I see it, Nate, is the Switch now is a successful generation that Nintendo would be going away from, whereas right now Microsoft should be trying to start the next generation immediately. Because the Xbox One, dude, that was not a good generation.
And that's kind of a weird thing, because I think a lot of us were expecting Xbox or Microsoft to do something like Nintendo did with the Wii U and the Switch, but it was like, all right, here's the Switch, the Wii U, yeah, fuck that. My bad. Well, let's go move on to this next project. But they're doing the complete opposite.
Language.
I mean,
let's look at the Switch. What was the Switch's most popular launch game? Breath of the Wild, a thing that 12 million people could have bought on their Wii U, but nobody bought it on the Wii. Nobody owned the Wii U, but nobody owned the Xbox One.
Welcome, Big Ang Barracus. Welcome, member.
When I talk about launches, I'm talking about like the first year, because that's the launch window.
Mario Odyssey.
Yeah, you had Mario Odyssey, you had Xenoblade, you had Splatoon. Like there was a bunch of shit. Mario Kart was technically
Splatoon. That was a good one, yeah.
But I mean, yeah, you had a bunch. There was reason to pick it up, and plus, yes, nobody bought the Wii U. More people bought the Xbox One than the Wii U. So if there's this install base of the Xbox One that already exists, was what 4 times the size of the Wii U, and then you're telling these people, oh, you don't really have to upgrade for 2 years. It's a very unique thing to come out and say it. It's a very unique thing with what they're doing. It's a very unique thing based on how many different Xbox One systems that we have gotten. And I'm not sure it's going to work. That's my main thing.
Well, we're pretty sure then that the PS5 will basically outsell the Series X or the Series S, like right out of the gate into the first year. Then, if they have a worthwhile exclusive for the PS5 in the first year.
Yep, because I mean, at the end of the day, the Xbox's games are going to be spread across 5 different systems, I guess, right? I mean,
that's another thing to look at.
We'll say 18 months.
Yeah. 18 months. Okay. Yeah.
So
after that,
then you got to come down to what will Microsoft really have in those 18 months that are going to. I mean, eventually you're going to hit the game. It could be Halo Infinite that is going to say, I'm not playing this on my Xbox One S. Now, if you have an X, you might sit there and say, I am more than happy with the performance I'm getting from my X, but I have a VCR.
So wait,
would I rather upgrade to an X or a Series X? Now, depending on the price, difference, I might just say, well, for an extra $200, I'll get a Series X.
I just think you can have cross-gen games, but then you can also have a big exclusive in there just to try to get people maybe start to make the move. Because what if we get there 18 months in, it's time to shut that VCR down, but maybe 8 million people decided to move over to the Series family, and then you're shutting off 50 million Xbox Ones from Game Pass, or from games going forward. That is the part where I'm like, ooh, I don't know about that. I feel like they should have said, we're going to have some games that work, for the older systems, and then we're going to have like a couple here and there that are just for the Series Xbox systems.
Which is pretty much a traditional model for new system releases.
Yeah, sure.
I think by coming out and saying it, you're essentially pigeonholing yourself.
Yeah, somebody's got to get that dude away from some interviews going forward.
That's what I felt like. It was probably something that he didn't really, he wanted to take back pretty much as soon as he said it.
Yeah. Well, what's the Don Matt trick when they're like, what if I don't have the internet? What would I do? Why would I get an Xbox One? And it goes, we have a product for you. It's called the Xbox 360. Like, that was a quote that stunk him.
The one good thing here is he didn't say anything necessarily bad for consumers. He says something that's actually good for consumers. But you're right, that was ugly when Don Matrick said that. I almost feel like this was
so bad.
This is a situation where Matt Booty was like, "Ooh, I probably shouldn't have said that." But I mean, we'll see what happens. But here's the thing: now, as someone who is like, I'm going to buy a Series X day one, E3 is very important now for them to show me why I should buy that Series X.
Yeah, they're going to say, come back next year when we'll talk about the Xbox Series X exclusives in 2022.
I'm just like, that Hellblade tech demo, I was like, man, I'm sold on this. This looks great. And now I'm hearing that, I might not see that Series X stretch his legs for the first year. I'm like,
dude, Sony's not even going to turn up to E3 and they're still going to win.
Oh, that's what they said in 2019 too. Remember, people were saying, "I can't believe somebody didn't show up and still manage to have the best show."
I need to see a little more information about that. Like that whole Sony not going to E3 is still it sounds crazy still.
I think they're going to show up.
100% they're going to 100%. They have to.
Let's put Mitch on the chopping block.
Oh, here we go.
Does it have to be Mitch, or can we just buy him a cactus and send it to him?
What does Nate have to do? Are you guys betting this? Is the plan on the line?
Nate, okay. All right, here's the
Face
deal.
reveal.
Here's the deal. I'm the officiator. Yeah, it's a whole
on cam.
To do a whole podcast with your face cam on, or
full podcast,
or on the podcast. Sean, you have to eat the
okay. Interesting.
Sean, you have to what?
His plan.
Okay, so just to make the rules 100% clear,
Mitch.
He has a plant named Mitch.
It's a sentient plant that he keeps.
I can't see because he just has a skeleton.
The skeleton is Mitch. No,
it's Laparca. Laparca just died.
Can you bring your plant onto screen?
Yeah, hold on, I'll grab him.
Evan, do we have any Discord questions?
Wait. Now that his headphones are off, he's using a green screen, and plants are typically green.
What are
he brought it on.
He did this before. Yeah.
You're not even going to see it.
It's literally
what are the terms here?
So the exact terms that I think that we need to just define, it's basically if Sony is there, if Sony is actually there Sony has to show up and do a press conference. That's what I think it should be. Sony's going to do a press conference because technically,
has to be at E3.
Yes,
because technically Sony was at.
Oh,
E3
you can't see because of the green screen. That's a Predator vision.
No, remember
it's just
the terms are Sony has to be
Potter.
at E3. If Sony is not at
Just
E3,
ceramic.
Sean has to eat Mitch.
And if Sony does, Sony does a presentation at E3 2020, you have to do a full podcast with webcam.
Yeah,
Okay. I agree to these terms.
no mask,
Yo.
no mask.
Clip it.
It has to be your actual face.
All right, I agree to these terms.
Oh,
Is this gonna be the first
okay.
time Sean's had vegetables?
I'm done.
Occasionally, the pizza pockets have onions in them. It's
Okay.
Some ramen has vegetables in it.
Oh man, that was good. That was funny.
You may witness history
Sean, you
here.
missed the
folks.
worst burn on you ever.
Oh man. Evan, we have some Discord questions left before we finish up.
Well, that
I
last
saw
thing with the
some-
Xbox covered one of them. It was specifically they were asking about the Halo series coming to both, so they were wondering if that would kill it, or adjust sales.
I think people
in a
will
bad
just
way.
literally. I think for Halo, people will just subscribe to Game Pass anyway.
Yeah,
Probably.
I honestly 100%, and I'm being dead serious. I've talked about this a little bit during like an end of year video, but 100%, I actually think that Halo Infinite is going to sell a ton, and it's because of Halo Reach and Halo 3 and everything coming to Steam. We have seen a huge resurgence of Halo. I'm not sure how many of these people are going to buy it on Xbox, but I do think that Halo Infinite is actually going to be.
I hope Infinite does well. I hope it cracks 10 million units.
I will bet it's definitely going to break 10 million.
I hope
bet
so.
Game Pass probably says otherwise.
Well, sorry, yeah, I'll say it'll have 10 million paying players.
They're gonna tell us
Do
how many
they-
times they reloaded the BR or something.
Because I haven't
exactly.
used Game Pass. Do they track and report at all, like how many people have played the games
Yes.
on the
Yeah.
service?
They
can.
brag about it. Yeah, they brag about it occasionally. They're like, this had 20 million people downloaded or something like that.
Okay.
I mean, Sea of Thieves is one of the most
Has
popular
10
games on the Xbox One.
Yeah.
That's
That's
1 million players.
My
that's what they say.
Yeah.
My one concern is we still don't know how many people have actually subscribed to Game Pass, and usually that's a number you brag about. So that's like where I'm like,
It's just me. It's
And plus,
only me.
people can always cancel Game Pass. And
The first 15 hours of Sea of Thieves was a lot of fun.
When
It's
did you
gotten
play
better,
the new
though.
stuff? Because the new stuff is
It's gotten
crazy.
better.
There's
I
so
heard
much
there's
to
a
do.
lot of new stuff. Just I don't want to go through that again.
I wanted to do a video, honestly, it was like a year after they did another giant update, and it was like the third giant update. And I was going to do a video called Sea of Thieves 1 year later because I heard it was totally different, but I just ended up not doing it.
let me go through some of these super chats real quick. Evan, how many more Discord questions do we have?
We still have two. One of them we kind of went over in a news wave. He was wondering, because the initial AMD render of the Xbox Series X we found to be fake, but then we saw that one that was supposedly real. He was just wondering if it is going to be HDMI still, like even if it's just like a mono HDMI, or if they're going to need something stronger.
It should be HDMI 2.1.
Yeah.
Yes, because they have 8K on the chip. It's got to be HDMI 2.1. So, yep, it should be. It looked like they got rid of the extra HDMI port too. So
The input port.
yeah, no more TV. Yep. What was the other question, Evan?
This one's, I'm just going to read it out. It's a long one. Do you think Nintendo sees the difference between a fail versus a flop or a success versus a hit? For example, do you think they see franchises like Paper Mario and Star Fox as failing, or know that it's just the latest entries that cause the underwhelming performance? The other side would be things like the Pokemon mobile game, with Go being what people wanted, but the other games being generally unasked for.
I would think they would do it on a game by game and case by case basis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, game by game. I mean, their expectations for certain games, like obviously they've basically have said this, is that they view a game like Splatoon, due to its great success, helping them fund a game like Bayonetta 2, which they know will cost a fairly substantial amount of money, but they're not going to get a return on investment because they know the fan base is limited. So they wouldn't view $500,000 for Bayonetta 2 as a failure. They would just say, there's not that many people who buy it, but we want that diversity in our library.
Okay. Let's go through this super chats here. Brett says, been playing Tetris Effect, absolute masterpiece. Tetris Effect is good. I play that in VR. It's nuts.
Yep.
Jalen says, I'm kind of scared about Platinum Games accepting money from Tencent Games. Nothing good can come from that kind of deal involving Tencent.
There's nothing to be concerned with there.
It'll be business as usual there. Don't worry about that.
From what I've been told,
scared.
From what I've been told, that's actually more like a loan, if anything else.
Yeah, it's just capital. It's just capital so that Platinum can go out there and do some of the self-publishing that they've wanted. All the management, everything else remains the same as it was before Tencent got involved.
Yeah, it's to get Scalebound back.
Well, the analogy I've heard sometimes, I've heard Tencent kind of operates like Disney, where like they have billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars, and so occasionally they'll see something that they think that they could make more profitable, and they just dump some money into it to see how much money they'll get.
Also,
out of it.
Based on Tencent, I doubt they had to give them that much money. Just to be honest, I mean, Tencent has a lot of money, so
Tencent is actually the biggest video game company in the world.
Yeah,
by far, right? Like by a humongous percentage, right?
It's pretty competitive media-wise with Disney. I mean, they put out tons of movies and everything.
Tencent's big. It's like it's literally Disney. They have their foot in everything.
Oh my god!
Tencent and Temtem.
Hey, don't you touch Temtem? Leave that.
The Tencent.
Michael says finished Final Fantasy VII for the first fifth time today. Jeez,
the first
still great game and story. So ready for a remake in March. Working on Resident Evil 2 remake now. Awesome.
Nice.
Bryson says just showing some love to the SpawnCast. Have a great 2020, and they say hashtag Sobble Squad.
Nice.
Hey,
that's the best message all night.
Hell yeah.
Get your gun.
It's not Grookey, but I'll allow it, I guess. Stern says, RGT, please let's play Pokemon Sword. Would be funny. How many have you played that again? Or now you just don't feel like playing it. Sean, you know what?
He's afraid he might like it.
Sean,
right?
You should try out Temtem. You should try out Temtem, Sean.
Only if Tencent will sponsor my Temtem video.
Sean, let's do a video together where you and I play through Pokemon Sword and Shield, and we'll do some raids.
Is it on your channel?
No, it could be on yours.
No. If it's on your channel, fuck, I'm down. I see that sub-base motherfucker.
Dude, I never saw a green
So
money
down.
sign pop
The
up in someone's
1.18.
eye so fast.
Pokemon Sword, let's go, baby. I'm ready.
Suddenly you love it.
Oh man!
If you were going to be on my channel, you would come over here to New Jersey. We would play together, and every time you lose, you have to assemble a Nintendo Labo kit.
Oh,
Jesus. Dude.
That's a good video. Buy the plane ticket.
Content.
That's it.
Yeah.
Plane ticket? You're like 2 hours from me.
Oh, is it? I think of everything from Texas. Sorry.
Alolan Jojo says, hi again. My Best Buy Gamers Card Unlock membership will be ending tomorrow. Where can we buy cheaper new physical Switch games? Thanks in advance. Check out Walmart.
Walmart, yeah.
Sometimes Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon sometimes, yeah.
GameStop is closing a bunch of their locations nationwide. And all their stores are between 30 to 50 and then 50 to 70% off.
I saw that. Yeah, it's interesting. I saw there's like a list that I saw that people were putting online.
Yeah, a friend of mine just got a Switch Lite for $130. I'll share it in the chat. Yeah.
I thought about doing a video on that on my other channel just because it's like, hey, if a GameStop's near you and they're closing down, might be able to get some cheap stuff.
I literally have a list of all the locations right here. I'll share it in the Discord.
Very neat.
I'll share it in the group chat.
There's one actually right up the road from me.
I do warn you though, if you go toward the end of the sale, it's a very sad place to walk into.
I know. Slim pickings.
I went to Borders the day it closed. I went to the last Borders in Dallas, like the day before it closed, and like literally, even they even sold the shelves. It was like an empty room with like 4 sad employees. I was like,
we did that with Circuit City back in the day. That was awesome.
Borders,
yeah.
Tesla says IGN confirmed Pikmin 3 in their NBC podcast this week without naming it. 1 hour, 1 minute spot in. I mean, at this point, it's not really a secret much anymore with Pikmin 3 being brought up everywhere. So I did notice. I thought IGN was talking about different Wii U ports at one point, but I might have been off about that. But apparently, Pikmin 3.
The chat is going off about the whole GameStop thing. Most of the locations that they're closing are like ones that are very, very small stores in the middle of strip malls that have been in developing areas, and rent has gone up. So those in particular stores are not profitable, which makes a lot of sense. It's not like GameStop is completely closing everywhere, the whole thing. They're cutting the fat. It makes sense.
They closed a bunch in Australia too, right? Or what is it? I saw some news report they closed like 20% of their stores somewhere.
Some people say that 15 or 19 EB games have shut down.
That's it. Yeah.
They're just and it's sometimes just easier to sell rather than ship the stuff to different stores. If you can just sell it there and not have to pay for UPS shipping, it's
and don't have to pay employees to pack it up.
Yeah. Exactly. Here's another one from Wilbert. Max DCG didn't jailbreak, then how did he play Final Fantasy VII?
Somebody just contacted me and said they had the demo and I played it and I really, really liked it. I mean,
sounds legit.
That's why I think the fact that it's all over the internet, I don't know. I definitely think we're going to get the demo soon. I see a lot of people asking about the demo. I do think we got to get the demo soon.
I'd like it like this week.
I would like it right now. Yeah.
I would like it on the 30th when it's
I might actually boot up the PS4 for that. It might be interesting.
Wait,
maybe you should boot it up
on that thing.
You should boot it up beforehand so you can install updates for.
I was about to say,
make sure to firm.
Or I'll just drive over to John's house. We'll just play it.
Yeah. If Rusty says, which Pokemon are you hoping gets added to the pass? I hope Furret or an Infinirape come back.
Infernape.
Infernape. I was reading it exactly how it's here. I said, you know what? I bet they've done it.
Was Infinirape your starter?
Infinirape.
Infinite rape. All right, we're done.
Oh Lord.
Oh God, I blurred all those words together.
Which Pokemon are you hoping gets added to the pass, Austin?
I'll take a Furret.
Yeah. 200, right? 200 plus are coming back. Anyone in particular?
Well, I already have Charizard and I already have Gyarados, so I don't know. Dragonite?
Okay, I remember that one. All right, we'll go with Dragonite. Hey, that was it. Hey, that was in that episode where they had the lighthouse and then
the giant
through the water. It was big.
Never explained. Good episode. Classic.
Sure was.
It was a good episode. Yeah.
And then the guy who's all dressed in the Kabutops. That was great.
Had that episode on VHS.
Sorry, the Kabuto.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
There's more super chats.
Yeah, I'm getting yours, Austin. I see it. It says, "Can John say I like a do the cha cha?"
Can you say it?
Wait, what? I couldn't hear you.
I like a do the cha cha. There you go.
No, you guys.
You have to say it slower.
You have to say it like Steve Carell.
Ken John said, "I like a do the cha cha."
I like a do the cha cha. That's how you have to say it.
I like a do the cha cha.
No,
it's not gonna happen. Give up.
That's my normal reading speed. I'm not telling you.
Yeah, he mumbled.
Okay, fine. All right, fine. I
like do the cha cha.
Do
you're ruining this soundbite?
Yeah.
Should have had him say the other thing.
Cha.
What the fuck was this on 56K?
Right?
I'm unsubscribing.
Buffering.
Yeah.
I want my $2 back.
It's those early AI talking programs that are like, I am Dreamcast guy.
What GameCube title would you like to see ported to the Switch? That's from Cody.
Eternal Darkness.
Star Fox Assault. Double Dash.
Crazy
Super Mario Sunshine.
It's not GameCube. It's not GameCube specific, but I'll take Time Splitters 2 and 3. Thanks.
No,
Skies of Arcadia.
Yeah.
Skies of Arcadia Legends.
Sonic Adventure 1.
You know what? I'd be okay with if they. I just want Metal Gear Solid. I was gonna say Twin Snakes, but at this point, I just want
Naruto Clash of Ninja 1 and 2.
Oh.
I own those in English and Japanese. In Japan, they call them Gekto Ninja Tyson.
I was gonna say, do you have the case with you?
I do, of course. Gekto Ninja Tyson.
I have that too, but it's all the way over there. I can't read it.
Mike says,
that's a GameCube game. We're talking about Dreamcast games.
Oh, whoops.
Swag says Switch Pro will play DS and Game Boy games.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Then I gotta buy it. Like how the new 3DS could play Super Nintendo games.
I'm pretty sure Game Boy is like the next thing for the Nintendo. If everyone saw the N64, it's gonna be Game Boy or Game Boy Color or something crazy.
And I love it. I want Game Boy and Game Boy Advance over Nintendo 64 any day.
Solus Curve says almost every Nintendo handheld had a Pro with exclusives.
Prove it.
I mean, I guess if you want to
DSi, 3DS,
Pro.
Okay, the DSi,
the Micro, Game Boy Micro.
Doesn't count. The Micro did not have exclusives.
I thought the DSi had extra RAM, so it could run the web browser.
The DSi had like 2 exclusive
and those were fucking. But those were okay, those were not. There was
they had
an online.
There was an exclusive WarioWare game on there. Okay,
weren't there DSiWare?
There was a WarioWare game.
Wasn't there a Shantae DSiWare game that came out?
Maybe.
I
remember them showing a puzzle game where you had to move the camera back and forth.
It wasn't stuff that couldn't run on the DS. It just had a fucking online store so that you could buy the stuff.
And on the new 3DS, they added the C stick, which was used for like 2 or 3 games exclusively.
I love it for Zelda.
Swag says, guys, you're forgetting Atari VCS is going to start the next generation of Beat Sony. You guys saw? I mean, you guys did see it. It loaded up Fortnite, right? You saw that.
Did it? I guess I didn't even see that. I just saw the windows.
What?
I was like, that's it. Pack it in. It's over.
Was it the menu screen, or was he actually? What did it? Was it moving gameplay or?
Oh yeah, it was like to the point where you're like you have a character standing there and you're going through the menus and everything. Yeah.
Wow.
Riku Perez says Spawn still believe what Fail Spencer says. Hey, that was Matt Booty who was talking.
Booty, son.
You said booty.
Oh, you might be talking about
booty.
You might be talking about the Game Pass stuff. I think he's just trying to let people know that their Game Pass, I guess, is working for him financially.
It is.
There you go.
It works.
Travis says RGT is the Charles Bukowski of YouTube gaming.
I looked him up and he didn't.
He's an American German poet.
Yeah,
of course.
Y'all don't know this?
I expected him to be like a horrible human or something.
Wait, what was his name?
Does he have a panache for meat?
Charles Bukaki.
Matthew Hammond says, remember the Nintendo DS was the third pillar?
Yeah, the Game Boy. They're coming out. The Game Boy's not dead, folks.
Yeah, who's bopping the music real quick?
Press says do a one-on-one with next show, so it's 20 tapping for.
Copyright strikes.
Oh yeah. Chris says, I don't know if anybody has mentioned it, but after last week's podcast, the possibility of a LTE switch upgrade, one that would always be connected through cell towers.
Nope.
Nah.
LTE is trash.
LTE is trash.
Sure.
5G. Let's go.
I've experimented with using I use a super crappy phone, but I experimented with it hotspot playing stuff on the Switch. It kind of works. I mean, I'd prefer that over buying a decent cell phone with decent hotspot than buying a new Switch with it.
Doesn't anyone here remember Sony's
the
3G Vita?
Yeah,
it was 3G though.
I remember everyone in the audience booing that. It was great.
They were, or did they boo or did they laugh? I
can't
remember.
They booed pretty hard.
They weren't happy about it.
Well, it's because they partnered with AT&T.
The moment it popped up on the screen,
with AT&T, and the whole just like, no,
it wasn't good.
I can't believe you've done this.
It wasn't pretty. Not at
My
all.
Vita reminds me every single time I turn it on that it can't connect to the friggin' network for AT&T. I'm like, I know, I don't care.
Hey, any info? Oh, this is from Michael Parker. Wow, I forgot about this game. Any info on Seasons of Heaven?
That was freaking bullshit when it was.
I forgot about that game. That was like the first Switch game or something where they showed gameplay or something, and then we found out they didn't have a dev kit. It was something like that, right?
Whoa.
Yeah, they didn't have a dev kit. They leaked it to select YouTubers so they could get publicity. But Laura Kate Dale was a big one at the time. Oh. But the people intentionally leaked their own game, and then they're like, "Oh my god, I can't believe it leaked!" Like, well, when you're making the game and you tell people to leak your game the next day. You know, that's eventually going to be found out because a lot of people rejected your offer. They just wanted to be like, yeah, we're making NX and we're using Unreal Engine 4. And people are like, oh my God.
Industry secret. Most leaks are on. There's only a few that aren't on. Leaks are on.
And then we have Riku Perez says a logo beat a console reveal. Xbox Dead on Arrival. That was for the PlayStation 5 logo that apparently broke the record for most likes on Instagram from a game.
Was it really? That's so weird. It was weird how much it trended for like 14 hours. People talking about a freaking logo.
It was the most obvious logo too.
Wow, they changed the 4 to a 5.
I did like the Photoshop. There's a Photoshop where they select the 4 and they press delete and they get the S and they like turn it upside down and draw a line and go, and we're good.
No, I saw one that had it in Photoshop. They deleted the 4, put a 5, and then it was a remix of Dora the Explorer's We Did It.
That's awesome.
Will McConnell says Australia stores are closing down as well. EB Games. I'm just saying that. Yep. Zaire Miller says the best comparison for the Xbox Series X and its strategy is like Apple with the iPhone and iOS.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's exactly that.
And Windows with the Windows Shop and Google with the Google Play Store.
Wait,
Or
so it's
any
almost
PC.
like businesses doing businesses?
Like businesses.
I'll just be curious if they can sell enough Series X's and Series S's so that when it's time to make the change, they can.
The big question is, which I wanted to butt in before. Do you think eventually they're going to say does not support original Series Xbox One?
Oh,
Yes.
Because that would just make everything easier for them.
I don't think they'll phrase it that way. I think they'll try and like spin it as a positive of like the first Series X only game, you know.
Oh, and the Series X can also be played by the Xbox One X.
I mean, I really don't.
That's not Xbox Series X. Yep.
I never like bringing iPhones in the equation because those things are like over $1,000, and we all complain about a $500 or $600 console.
We complain about everything. That's
We do.
That's the internet. Yeah. That's the internet.
You call me the hate.
We all complain about
majority of people don't get online to go, I love a thing. The majority of people go online to go,
I do.
Know what? I hate sometimes, but we get together once a week and we just go, you know what I don't like? This.
No.
To be fair, Nate every day. Nate every day.
Talked about Temtem.
Yeah, but then did we not talk crap about other things? Did you not start this podcast off by disgracing the name of Mystery Dungeon?
Disgracing
Jordan,
or
okay.
reinforcing?
He never even returned to Mystery Dungeon, even though
We were
he
all talking
promised
about
he would.
Mystery Dungeon being for kindergartners.
And that's okay.
It's
I
good for
mean,
those
you're the
people.
one quoting
to be
Dora
for
the
us.
Explorer.
That was my only
Listen.
statement, is that it's an early childhood game.
Perfect for you.
Me?
Yeah.
I don't
Me,
think
the guy who rips apart analysis and sneaks you backstage at MagCon?
You make videos about Pokemon. I make videos about Pokemon. We're all children.
You open up card packs and get reported to Kappa.
Oh no!
At the Kappa. Kappa Cabana.
Oh boy, look at me. Federal lawbreaker.
Jordan's getting fined by the Kappa.
Chris says you guys don't have Verizon.
I have Verizon.
No.
I have Metro
No,
PCS,
baby.
the worst phone service in the world.
I have T-Mobile.
T-Mobile.
In the metro areas here on the East Coast, T-Mobile's better than Verizon.
Woohoo!
That is true.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which love their new CEO. The day that he got the job, he was like, we need the iPhone. And then the iPhone Bendgate happened. And he was on a live interview. And he was like, what asshole is sitting on their $1,000 phone? And people are like, he's right.
You talking about John?
Oh, yeah.
Great.
Yeah. We covered Wii U ports through several different we talked about.
We've covered the Wii U ports since last year.
Well, we just talked about them again, how there's supposed to be 2 more apparently coming to the Switch, and it seems like that's picked up a lot of steam going into a Nintendo Direct apparently happening soonish. So we talked about all the different Wii U ports and which ones we wanted to come over, but the 2 leading ones right now are Pikmin 3 and Mario 3D World, which Nate, you told us Mario 3D World is coming last year anyway, so
that's cool.
Yeah.
I like 3D World a lot.
And Zelda's.
Hey, yeah, Scott forgot that you owed him $5 too.
Who's to say I never gave it to him?
Oh,
Scott.
He doesn't remember.
Oh, why don't we just ask him? Hey, Scott, did he give you $5?
He watches while he's chilling, so he's watching.
He's about to call you out in the chat.
Right.
Wait, who's Scott?
The Waz?
He was on a podcast. Him and Nate made a $5 bet.
hi, Scott.
Oh, was he
3D
here?
World would be in a direct. I don't know.
It'll be in a direct one day.
One day.
Let's see. I think that was everything though for the podcast, right? I think we're good. Let's go around here. MVG, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Modern Vintage G, YouTube Modern Vintage Gamer, and I got a new video coming up Monday as usual. So stick around for that. Thank you for having me on the show. And before I go Chiefs tomorrow.
Oh, there you go. All right, very good. What about Austin? Thanks for joining us tonight, man.
I'm rooting for Mahomes.
Hell yeah, you are.
No one cares about
Thanks for having me on. I'm very excited that my panel just got confirmed. So if you're going to be at PAX East, I'm going to be doing my panel Friday, approximately 3:30 p.m. More info coming soon.
And I will crash it.
Twitter at Austin John Plays, YouTube / Austin John Plays. We're trying to hit that 2 million mark.
Jesus. All right. There you go.
Man. Look at you go.
Well, we're striving for 1.25 first, but
fancy.
Eventually the 2M. I wasn't expecting to hit 1 before the end of the year.
There you go.
So now I don't know what to do with myself.
We're on our way to 2. We just need like 800,000 more.
Yeah, give me a couple months.
Miss Click, where can they find you?
Hey. Hi. You can find me here on YouTube as Miss Click Gaming, and I will upload when I upload. That's just how it goes. I'm literally live like 24 hours a day on twitch.tv/missclick_live. You can find me there. And anything else that you want, you can just find it on missclickgaming.com.
Are you live right now?
Most of the people watching are confused.
Here, but you know. Yeah.
Let's go over to Sean. Where can they find you, man?
Find me in your local dumpster looking for a meal. No, you can find me various forms of the internet at RG. People think I look homeless. I had a rise and fall on Reset Era. They liked me for like a few minutes, and then they saw some of the things I had said about them in a tweet, and then they hated me. So it was like, I went the full cycle with them. But yeah, you can find me on various forms of the internet at RGT85. That's
okay.
it.
Very good.
He had a similar fallout with TMZ.
Pretty much all of them.
What about Max, Dreamcast guy?
I'm doing pretty good. You can just find me on youtube.com/Dreamcast guy. This coming week, I'm going to do a top 10 that's kind of fun. I want to do top 10 things that suck about modern gaming, just as a way to kind of talk about like DLC and stuff. And the week after, I'll talk about what's great about modern gaming. And we're going to be talking about Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. I've been watching, actually rewatched a bunch of Dragon Ball Z and caught up on Dragon Ball Super, just so when I play the game, I can fully understand
that on
the
Friday. Remember that Friday day one. Let's go. In
your video, are you going to put in how I'm a casual PlayStation gamer, and every time I turn the system on, it takes me an hour for the system updates?
Are you getting Dragon Ball Z Kakarot? Awesome.
Me?
Yeah.
No, I'm plugging it in for when Final Fantasy demo happens.
Just go ahead and start the updates now. Just start the updates.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, probably.
It'll be ready by the time it comes out.
What about Jordan?
By the 30th.
Hi, I'm Jordan. You can find me. Check out my other channel. It's called Batteries Low. I put out a video the other week about Dante's Inferno. It's a new type of video series I'm trying. I put a lot of hard work into it. I linked it there in the chat. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. I worked really hard on it. I'm trying to get them to be weekly or bi-weekly episodes. I'm working on one for Enslaved, so go check out that episode if you like it. Toss me a sub. If you don't, well, I don't know what to tell you. That you just don't like me. All right.
Okay. Cool. And then Nate, what about you?
You can find me on Twitter at DirectFeedGames. Link to my YouTube channel there. I also have my other channel, Nate the Hate. Twitter is at Nate the Hate, followed by the number 2. I have a video on that channel coming out on Monday about a topic I cannot disclose right now, so it'll appear on Monday.
What's the topic?
Sometime. That's right, secrets. And I'll have some of that super Crush KO game up on Thursday.
Dang, don't even know the name?
I knew it was Super KO. I forgot what the C word was, though. Like it was Crash or Crush or Kronk.
The Canadians can tell you what the Australians can tell you what the C word is.
That'll do it. That'll do it here for SpawnCast episode 145. We will be back next Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time, hopefully to talk about a direct. I don't know. Maybe this week. Maybe next week.
What do you know?
We'll see. We'll see you guys then.
Nice wave, everyone.